twister, double S drifter, separate sipping, and you know I came with it if she cute with me. Do.
This could take quite a bit of time.
Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces. How the fuck you bummy and broke but a pale racist? My lineage free people of color with a left make each nigga. This right here maroon, now it ain't burgundy. If you plotting murder, I'm certain that you'll need surgery. Hurt from when the burner squeeze. Protecting tribe business. Only consulting with governments, tried to tribe with it. Please don't confuse us with those considered native. Semi-autonomy never was in our nature. Just address me as Esther Lusty. Wild Indian status and Cherokees riding Ruchis. In my war bonnet, if you want it, bring it to your region. And black forces the same color the European. Pardon my autonomy. I know one day they'll honor me. This ain't pertaining to 28 Deuteronomy. Self-determination, controlling our situation. Ain't no more indoctrination from pale faces.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine.
He lied on it. If it's peace and unity, believe that's how I want it. But I promise that they only issues is with my moments. To Oak Clan from Oak Cliff, I can't lose my focus. Ty, why you on that song with that boy? You be on some old shit. I had to. I see my mama working. I be hopeless. They left me hanging, then I found out how I'm gonna approach this. That boy got some talent. Where his OG even find him at? OG Arizona had him flex and show all kinds of racks. Label paid advances thinking they gon' see some diamonds back. But I just taught y'all how they turn these rappers into laundromats. He clean up good, don't he? Word around town, he ain't no gangster, he the hood phony. They don't fuck with Ty, cause Ty gon' speak on shit he not supposed to. I ride around the hood and press they buttons like a Roku. Oh, I told you, when I win, they say it's us, but I still do me. Cause if I lose, they wanna get out, and they'll feel moody, like a bitch. When I look up and say nope, it's real spooky. Have these niggas acting weird like it's a Jordan Peele movie. One of a kind, T.Y.E. really were. I'm out of my mind, oh yeah, this shit ain't even fair. I don't respect lames cosplaying as street niggas. I respect the street niggas that's cosplaying as squares. I got 5 on it, nigga. Yeah, that's a bet. You ain't gotta put no suit on to no ties at your neck. Yeah, I got 5 on it, nigga. Yeah, you a joke. All that hate and I provoke. Get love from Grove Side to the Pope. Bitch, I got 5 on it, nigga. Double or nothing. Ain't gonna tell you about my money and ain't gonna tell you who I'm fucking. Bitch, I got 5 on it, nigga. The last hope. Yeah, I'm putting 5 on it, but T.Y. don't even smoke.
No such thing as disco. It's R&B. We all know R&B means rhythm and blues.
Yes.
What most people don't know is it actually meant which side of the record. So in the 40s, the fast side of the record was the rhythm side. The slower side of the record was the blues side.
It ain't nobody's business if I do.
Before it was R&B, it was called race music because it was the music that came out of black communities. But because white communities were into it, they had to sell it and market. So they had to take it off of race music, and they came up with rhythm and blues. Disco is really rhythm and blues. The word disco comes from France. It was an expat who actually moved to New York and opened up one of the first clubs. Discotheque is a French word that means library of record. Really, there is no such thing as disco. It's R&B. We all know R&B means rhythm and blues.
Yes.
Well, most people.
We gave a black man the highest prize in the universe, and then after that we gave him the Nobel Prize for Peace, even though he didn't earn it. We gave to him everything that he needed to succeed. We gave him everything that he needed to succeed. We gave him everything he needed to lead his people. We gave him everything he needed to help black people. We gave him everything he needed to change the world and the dynamics of black people. We gave him everything to heal slavery. We gave him the presidency, and we gave him the Nobel Prize for Peace. We gave him everything. And the nigga failed.
Kid, I lived in the country with my grandparents. One of my favorite things to do, dig in the dirt. While I was in the field with my grandfather or in the garden with my grandmother. First time I dug deep enough to hit red clay, Big Daddy told me I had dug down to the devil's front door. Scared the shit out of me. I told Big Mama, she said, oh boy, he just playing with you. But that clay is red because it's mixed with the blood of our ancestors. That means this land belongs to us. That Georgia red clay is our birthright. It was our obligation to cultivate and protect it. This land we're standing on belongs to us.
But don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give him? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this. And it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim. And then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. Yes, sir. This is American justice. Yes, sir. That's right. This is American democracy. Yes, and those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy. Right. Now, if I'm wrong, put me in jail. But if you can't prove that a democracy is not hypocrisy, then don't put your hands on me.
Charleston White kept it so real in this interview, man, and I had to pull this part out so I can show it to y'all so we can wake up as a people. We truly have to change our thought process, and we truly have to do research when it comes to the history of our people. But watch this.
In no other time outside of voting do you see them stand next to Megan, stand next to Quavo. No other time do they do this.
Yeah.
The last time we saw them do this, they were standing with Diddy. And Diddy was rocking the vote or die as he was but he was trying to get us to vote or die. You don't think they knew Diddy was doing that back then and the rumors still circulated around him, but they still got him and said, vote or die, y'all. Diddy pushed the whole campaign to vote or die. So every 8 years, they go get a bunch of rapper celebrities and stand with them, and we don't ever see it again. Why won't they go stand with Ice Cube? Trump
Facts.
did.
Facts.
Think about that, man. Why won't Kamala and them go look at what Ice Cube put down? Biden wouldn't look at it. No Democratic looked at it. Trump went and peeked at it. Yeah. And Ice Cube got a lot of flack from black people because he let Trump look at it. You're supposed to let both of them look at it and see who can do what. Why are we stuck on one side? Why do we only look at one side of the coin? Why don't we ever look at both sides of the coin and try to make a decision? Why do we blindly vote Democrat? Have you ever asked yourself that? Why? And Democrats have never done nothing for black people ever in the history of America. Zero. Other than giving them government entitlements. So let me just say this. The Democratic and the Liberal Party is our slave plantation because that's where we come from as slaves. And that's facts. So you got some people say, well, the party switched during Lyndon B. Johnson. No. The Democrats became very clever during Nixon's Southern strategy. It was called Nixon's Southern strategy, not LBJ. LBJ was the one that came along and said, I'm going to have these voting Democrat for the next 200 years. It's only been 50 years. So we got another 150 years before we change our voting pattern by way of L.B. Johnson, the Democratic president. And he called us, he said it. I'm going to have these voting Democrat for the next 200 years. That's why you vote Democrat. Trump is not a politician. So he's going to do things that's unorthodox. He's a businessman. He's not a politician. All of them are politicians. He's the only one that's not a politician. So why wouldn't he go with the real? When he been with the real, you want me to give you a lineup? Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Tony Yayo, Lil Jon, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Lou Alcindor. I can go on and on. Rosa Parks. This man been taking pictures with all these prominent people forever.
Now I want y'all to look at this data chart. This is from census.gov. This is the real median household income by race and Hispanic origin from 1967 to 2021. Look at the black race on this chart. We are at the bottom economically. And guess what we've been voting all this time? Democrat. So we've been at the bottom economically for 6 decades of voting Democrat. So this shows we have not progressed economically voting for Democrat for 6 decades. Man, Charleston White just kept it all the way real, whether you like it or not. And it's crazy to me how as a black person in this country, you get bashed, you get called a sellout, you get called all these different names just because you decide to vote Republican or you want to vote for Trump. All my life growing up, I've seen all of my elders, all of my family, and virtually every black person that I know voting Democrat. But what has changed in all of that time? Our neighborhoods still look the same. Our finances is still the same. Our conditions is still the same. How can you expect for something to change when you don't change your mindset in your vote? And I always hear people saying, well, how come y'all don't never ask the Republicans for reparations? Because the Republicans is not pandering to the black community to get the black vote. Only the Democrats are doing that. We truly have to wake up as a people, man. And if anybody wants our vote, we have to get tangibles out of it. We have to get something for our vote. Bottom line, make sure y'all thumbs up the video. If this is your first time watching, make sure y'all subscribe, share the video on your page, and until the next video, peace.
Somebody lied.
You're listening to Self Radio.
Peace to the party. What they do? How y'all doing? We live. MuseMediaLounge.com. We live. We in the booth. 954-561-305. You already know what it is. South Florida. We dodged one recently. You know, I ain't gonna lie. It's a lot of things. A lot of we've been through a lot in the Florida period in the last 2 weeks. You know what I mean? But we all right though. We all right. We dodged one though. In Tampa, you dodged a closer one though. You heard me? I'm gonna be real with y'all. Y'all dodged one. But shout out to all the people that's lost their lives or been damaged by the situation. Especially if you're living through it right now and you got to go through it. You heard me? In this political time we in. It's a campaign year, as they say, right? The harsh reality is live life autonomously over here at the party. You know what I'm saying? And you live in autonomous as possible within our micro standpoints of who he is. Ethnically, you heard me? Yeah. That's the Lucy. Absolutely. It's your boy Mac Aether, Gotta Green. Shout out to Baron P. Not with us. Shout out to Blaze. He's sick, man. I ain't gonna lie. Last 3 weeks in a row, you know what I'm saying? That's why we a podcast / mix show live. You heard me? But hopefully you tap in and you know what we do. We be 4 years strong now. You know what I mean? We 4 years strong now. The good, bad, ugly. You heard me? From the last election to this one, right? We're gonna be here past that. So, no matter how you might politically decide to be who you is, we're gonna still be here. The autonomous party, by the way. So peace to the party. Maranatha to you. And all the indigenous folk, black, as they might, call us, shout out to you. All maroon folk. You already know internationally, Obama, you know what I'm saying? Since he opened up that paradox box. Shout out to all my maroons, you know what I mean? ILO 169, you hear me? Yeah. That's why we internationally, as Esther Lucy, are dealing with this maroon term that applies to us and how we're being treated, not being considered part of the indigenous people in our classification of being called a Negro, and also, I guess for y'all soft folk, black, you know what I'm saying? Because some of y'all might not be tied to certain things of the people that's being described as Negro prior to United States being formed, or your folks coming here after 20 years of that easily, Your people came here after 1965, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X time frame. There's certain things that might not relate to you when it comes to the national origin of being American, labeled Negro or colored folk. I want to say though, you've seen all the clips we put up, and our guests, we've been trying to get with him for a minute. Lee Cummings, shout out to Lee Cummings. We got a couple things I want to segue to get into that though. You heard me? So I gotta say something because I ain't seen y'all and outside of the storm, you know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't be right if I didn't. You know what I'm saying? The reason why, last week not scheduled, we didn't show up because my matriarch has transitioned. Yeah. And that was something that, your family matters. You gotta handle your shit here. So shout out to her on my trials and tribulations. But this podcast joint, on my legacy of my matriarchal lineage, because you got two, right? My father and my mother. But my matriarch, as we would call your mother, transitioning has led me to look at certain things that I'm here with you live right now, the Autonomous Party, because of her mother. Yeah, I can stand on genealogy business, you hear me? And say this to y'all, like, guess why I'm here? You know what I'm saying? Because of my legacy tied to my matriarchal side of my family. And my grandmother, her mama, is the first one to tell me about anything of my indigenous ties of being labeled a Negro in this country to this land. But she also was the same one to in family business and women matriarchal at that time from her, my grandma's standpoint, being in the pulpit or being pastor or being an owner of a ecclesiastical organization. Well, she defied all those odds and she did it anyways. So shout out to my Mathis surname family. Shout out to my Joneses. Obviously, shout out to my Browns. Shout out to the Williams. That's tied. My first foe. That's my first foe. Shout out to them. Got to put that out there. It's been a crazy week. Like a storm came through, though. You know what I mean? Like the chariot, the Merkabah that go up and take you up. They had to bring a storm in like that to make sure she get there. Yeah. But tap in, though. We got a couple of joints, though. Because, shout out to Cootie Mayo, too. That just, I know we ain't been here for a couple of weeks, so Columbus Day or the Indigenous Day took place. We put on our community wall. And I know that y'all might have missed that one of our websites popularly, because it's political time, right? But one of them, I think it was New York Times to be exact, if I want to be correct. I might be correct, to shout out to Cootie Mayo. But they put out on the 13th of October that Columbus, for most people, I think, even I could say myself, growing up, right, before I became conscious reading things on my own, I was always thinking he was a white boy like John Brown. You hear me? This is just an extraordinary pale-skinned man, as since we were caught up in this in America concept of black and white and not understanding national origins of people with these complexions called black and white. But when it comes down to Columbus, you know what I'm saying, I would say to y'all, you know what I'm saying, we found out, and the news is putting it out, that, he was Sephardic. Sephardic, by the way. Yeah. Shout out to you, Big Creek. I appreciate that salute. The Sephardic situation, though, it's been disputed. That's a big influence on Americans' culture if you look at it, by the way. If you really go into 1492 and the Inquisition and you understand the historical things that's going on between Europe, Africa, and what they call the New World, the West Indies, the Antilles, North America, South Central, and what we call Canada today, we will understand that it was a lot of things outside of what we've been given historically in school system, especially after the 18th century, of what this melting pot, they call it today, America is. So I want to make sure, when we talk about these things and the influences of things, not last week, I'm tripping. 2 weeks ago, I did the Greek influence on the African American. I also, this week, following up with the Hebrew influence with my guests, because of today, Obama, who spoke out recently, and I don't know why he did that, dealing with him talking to black men, and I guess that's what you call it, the safe way of saying things. But when you're going to delineate things, being that he's the one that did it, the Negro American man in this country with heritage tied to this country of North America prior to it being formed as United States of America and have heritage in this land, being labeled a Negro or having mixtures, etc., as we know most of us loosely do, indigenously, obviously, to this land. That you spoke to somebody like myself, right? And who was a male. They were letting me be black, male, like the cops pulled me over type shit. But at the same time, we understand all that, but he shouldn't have did that. You know what I mean? Shout out to one boy, Monte, homeboy with the news this past Tuesday. And what he did explaining that, because we're not here being biased about a male or female in the position of a political office of the system that we call today United States of America today, because there's certain things that we know. And I don't want to be disingenuous, but I'm going to call it bullshit when I see it. Cap. You hear me? I see cap in the house, the boule, the Greek influence of, I don't give a damn what complexion he is. But at the same time, Obama, man, listen, man, I got to just say this to you, I don't know why you said that. I don't know why you said that, dog. You were trying to help her. You shouldn't have said that. You heard me, in my opinion. But you said it. You know what I'm saying? So it is. You're gonna regret it or whatever. Maybe you don't care because you were in good position, right? If you made a movie, Leave the World Behind. You know what I'm saying? So I can't even go off of You know what I mean? Like, why are you speaking on something you made a whole movie about leave the world behind, but now you telling us black men to fall into what the world doing? You know what I'm saying? Are you a black man yourself? Hold on, wait. So what's going on? That's why complexion and skin folk, all kin folk ain't skin folk. Complexion don't matter. I learned that a long time ago. But you still can fall in love with somebody of the same complexion as you that's not of the same background as you too. When you understand your ethnicity, your national origin, and the race and all that other stuff that go with it, right? So again, peace to the party. But before our guest, Lee, and I know he should be showing up tonight. You know what I'm saying? You already know. We're gonna play this joint though. Shout out to Cootie Mayo once again though. He did a joint recently because I know Cootie was gonna jump on it, right? Because he was like, oh, hold on, wait a second, I did this a year ago, and he did. And talked about it, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. You didn't cover this. I don't cover. We don't. Matter of fact, we had him and Lee Cummings on the show together to talk about Maranos. I actually labeled it myself personally with the term Marano in it to show this situation but people ain't catch it. It might have went over their head. You know what I mean? Huh? The Marano connection. I did it with Lee before a year ago, before he did the Zarko joint with the Columbus joint, actually. He's with a guest on our show. You know what I mean? I know my timeline just off our own podcast mix show joint, you know what I mean? And who our guest has been and what the topics have been about. To be honest with y'all, I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? But niggas ain't catch it then, though. You see what I'm saying? That's loose. So I gotta play a clip that he showed on the joint because I ain't got time to play the whole thing in our time frame. But tonight we're gonna share this with you because the indigenous Columbus debate. And if you describe yourself as a Negro, a Muslim, a Jew, or somebody out of West Africa, tied to the Inquisition or slave trade narrative of things, and how your people came into the New World, as they would call it, based off of Columbus or Christopher Columbus, aka Cologne, really his name be said, from what you will find out. And obviously his name tied to some things. Lusitania, the Portugal or the Portuguese thing that seems like they don't want to talk about Spain, right? New Spain in America, but they don't talk about New Lusitania in Brazil, which is also known as Negro de Terra. You hear me, by the way? So at the end of the day, that's why the Portuguese situation is important to talk about. We're gonna let's go into something though. And our guest is almost ready. I know he's almost ready. Let's tap in. Let's go.
Proof that Hebrew West Africa reached the Americas before Columbus. I have the proof. It's also in my book, The Line of Shem and the Seed of Judah. But I just want to share with you a couple of interesting points that I discovered that a lot of historians, researchers, they kind of overlook this. But I got the proof right here. And guess where I found the proof? Right from Christopher Columbus's own written journal. Yes, right from his own journal is proof that Hebrew West Africa reached the Americas before he did. Now, I'm not talking about what he said in 1492 when he first came over to the Americas, and he said that there had come to Hispaniola from the south and southeast a black people who have the top of their spears made of a metal which they call guanin. And then, of course, they took the samples back to Portugal, Spain, wherever, and found out that it was 32 parts, 18 were gold, 6 of silver, and 8 of copper, which is what the same alloy was in West Africa. I'm not referring to that particular quote because a lot of people try to argue that and debate it and say, well, black people could have meant anything, could have been any type of people. And guanin was something that was done in the indigenous peoples had done that for hundreds of years. And that's true, they did. So I'm not referring to that particular quote that was in his journal in 1492. I'm talking about his third voyage in 1498, what he wrote in his journal. And I'm going to share it with you right now. Notice what was written in his journal.
When your tools aren't.
Now, here's a map of the Mali Empire, as you can see. And there were various Hebrew villages and tribes in various locations throughout the Mali Empire and even throughout West Africa. And to be straight up honest, actually in North Africa, South Africa, East and Central Africa too. But today's video, we're going to be focusing on Hebrew West Africa. There were several tribes and villages in various locations throughout West Africa. Here's another map here showing West Africa, the various places here. We have Cape Verde, we have the Gambia, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Benin, Nigeria, and here Mali, all various Hebrew villages and tribes all throughout there. So let's get right to the material here. Here we go. All right, so we're going to go right to Columbus's own written journal, and we're going to get the source right out of his mouth, right out the words that was written, okay? And we're going to be focusing on the narrative of his third voyage. And here we start on page 379. And just check this out, friends. A lot of people don't be quoting this particular part. They like to quote the part about the spears that had the gold on them with the guinin, and black people that brought this to them, or didn't bring it to them, but they went out and found them, but and took it from them. But this is a very interesting entry here. Two entries that I want to share with you that a lot of people do not quote, but it's proof that Hebrew West Africa reached America before Columbus, right in his own journal. Check this out. Okay, I'm gonna start reading right from his journal. This is about June, July 1498. Okay, June, July 1498. This is from his journal. Here it begins reading. And the admiral says further that the said King Don Juan, and of course, let me stop right here. King Don Juan was the king of Portugal. Okay, and you know they were the ones that helped. He came to them to help fund his voyage to go to the Americas. So it goes on to say, the admiral, that's referring to Christopher Columbus, the admiral says further that the said King Don Juan was certain that within those limits, famous lands and things must be found. Certain principal inhabitants of the island of Santiago came to see them, and they said that to the southwest of the island of Juego, which is one of the Cape Verde, distant 12 leagues from this, may be seen an island, and that the King Don Juan was greatly inclined to send to make discoveries to the southwest, and that canoes had been found which start from the coast of Guinea and navigate to the west with merchandise. Did you catch what I just read there, family? Let me read that to you again. Okay, again, it says, I won't read the whole part, but it says certain principal inhabitants of the island of Santiago, that's Santiago is on the Cape Verde Islands, on the islands of Santiago came to see them, and they said that to the southwest of the island of Juego, which is one of the Cape Verde, distant 12 leagues from this, may be seen an island, and that the King Don Juan was greatly inclined to send to make discoveries to the southwest, and that canoes had been found which start from the coast of Guinea and navigate to the west with merchandise. Did you catch that? He said that canoes, they sent a party to Santiago, Cape Verde Islands. They started talking to the locals, and they discovered that there had been canoes. There were canoes that had been found, which start from the coast of Guinea. So that's West Africa. So we're talking about West African canoes, which start from the coast of Guinea and navigate to the west with merchandise.
This woman followed some bad advice that told her to drink apple juice for 6.
I'm trying to tell you. Now, I want y'all to just see that right there, because, like I said, on last, we were like, I got to play this clip. Our guest is obviously back. Shout out to Lee Cummings. What's the next joint we got real quick, though? What is it, video, or is it? Let me see. Let me pull it up real quick. Yeah, I want that to go with that. I want to show this real quick, and then we going to pull our guests up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Again, Marana to everybody. I appreciate y'all for pulling up on us live. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to be hyped tonight, though, with y'all, though. We're going to get to the facts of the situation, though, because this is what we do. You hear me? Shout out to the party. The Thomas party, by the way. The harsh reality is, you already know what it is. Thomas, live it. Was Christopher Columbus born in Cuba? And you see that word, Alentejo. How you pronounce that, God? Huh? Alentejo. That sounds like some tequila. Don't get me. I'm sorry, my bad. I'm drinking it. I can't help it. You know what I'm saying? With Raspado. That could be like a tequila. Y'all gonna be out there. I see somebody gonna find the old trademark and try to. But you see what happened to Diddy when he tried to do his own tequila. So you can try what you want. You heard me? Don't get mad at me. You know what I'm saying? Last summer we visited Cuba, a small town, and how you pronounce that word again? Alentejo. I said it right? With the hole on the end? With the J? Oh, ain't no J, but it's a hole. It's a hole. All right. Okay, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it be. We were attracted by the legend that this hamlet of whitewashed houses in true birthplace of Christopher Columbus, the navigator, called Cuba, the large Caribbean island he discovered in 1492. Why did he choose such an unusual name? Was it in honor of his homeland? We asked the local where to go for lunch. He smiled and pointed to a building on the other side of the road. A large sign read Adinga, de Casa, de Monte, Pedro. As soon as we entered the restaurant, we heard voices singing in harmony. A group of locals were sharing a glass and pour wine in singing tradition. Until that's how I pronounce it, by the way. Song called Kente. We sat at a corner table in the spacious dining room full of old wine of forest. Our waiter asked whether we would like to try the wine that the singers were drinking. Of course, we did it, and it came with the howl of terrific olives and a plate of splendid, and I always messed up this Italian joints. You know, I like their food. I ate Italian food last night. I ain't gonna lie. Prosciutto made from black pigs. You know that black pig thing is tied to what they call Moranos, right? If you didn't know that, or Moreno, by the way, for y'all Spanish Latin folk listening. Raised in the antelope on a diet of acorns. Like, they ain't eating all the bullshit now. You hear me? They getting fed a certain way. That's all pork ain't bad, I guess, huh? But either way, the white wine was delicious and refreshing and devoid of affectation. I don't even know why they use these big words like this. Could have been more simple. Yeah. Our meal started, and I ain't gonna get into all their food, but they talking about basically the area, you know, of where, which is in what we call today Portugal or Lusitania, Cuba. It's an area in Portugal, Lusitania, like Lisbon. So before we get the island of Cuba that we know today over here, Castro might be the famous person of that island, I would say, in our modern day time. But the actual Columbus, Zarco, his people come from out of Cuba, Lusitania, aka Portugal, by the way. Shout out to Cootie Mayo on what he put out. I had a clip, but I don't want to bring up our guests because I want to keep them waiting. Okay, you might have something to say just about what I just put out right up on the Hebrew. And that's a Hebrew influence right there, ain't it? Because they were Yahudi, by the way. What up, Lee? What they do?
Man, what's good?
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm watching this game, man.
Oh, you watching the game?
The Jets and the Steelers.
Okay, what's
Yeah,
up?
I was watching the game. What's up?
Ain't nothing, man. I appreciate
you
being
feel,
a guest
man?
tonight, man. I'm taking it one day at a time, Lee. But I'm here though. So you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
you know,
true.
you've been a guest, you know, obviously with me for a couple of years now. I can say easy since I've met you, and
It's been a couple years.
It's been that fast. I know people look at it a certain way, but you know what I mean? What do you say, God? About a year and a half, at least 2 almost, man. Time fly. So you've been a guest.
Yeah, dude.
As an author on the sources of what you talk about, you're dealing with what people call Negroes in America. You heard me? So yeah, I got to give you that shout out. I appreciate you tonight. You already know what I've been going through, but I appreciate you. You heard me? I know you've been busy though, so I want people to know because you ain't show up for, and I got to keep it real because they already know me. I'm gonna keep it on it. You ain't show up for the joint that we scheduled with Monte, the homeboy with the news on that Tuesday that we've been doing, dealing with King James. See what I'm saying? You ain't show up, so I have to ask you this off top before I can even get to some things, even dealing with this. I can't even front with you, dog. I ain't gonna lie. I want to be me. You hear me? So, hey, listen, I can laugh a little bit. Listen here. So, when it came down to what you was gonna say, can you give me a quick summary synopsis of your understanding of why you think, from you being the author of the Negro Questions, that King James VI, you know what I'm saying, obviously, you know what I'm saying, known as the first of England and dealing with that, but everything I've heard from you, I'm gonna bring up, matter of fact, God, you're gonna bring up the 1611 joint before I even bring the next clip, because this is the thing that I felt at Lee off the top. My first day I met you, and our relationship of friendship we have, you know what I'm saying, that this I didn't know about this 1611 King James Bible. I'm gonna pull it up right now, right? But you put me on to it, and I always give credit where I get information from, and I didn't know that he based himself. But some people might say, and I'm gonna say it for that reason, some people might say that this man could be also a pale skin or complexion of more pale skinned person, but still was following the what we call today, you know, Judaic or Yehudi or Hebrew understanding of the Bible, dealing with the understanding of the house of David, and obviously the languages that first build our foundation of civilizations underneath this monotheistic. I know I said a lot. Go ahead, Lee. Go ahead, Lee. Go ahead. Am I tripping?
No, but so what's the point? I don't understand.
I mean, okay.
No, I don't care. I ain't tripping.
I'm
just trying to figure out
a
what the
downsizer.
point is.
You're right. I know
point,
I said a lot. I know I said a lot.
What point are we doing?
What do you think about King James when your understanding of him being considered a swarthy person? Would you say that he was a Negro in the manner of that, or King James being dark-skinned person based off the most pictures that people will look up relating to this man called King James, who that brought this right here? There's no going around this though. This is his shit, and you're right about this 100%. I don't give a damn about complexion or nothing.
King James.
Go ahead. Your phone crazy, huh?
We have I'm going to show you guys we have a ship's manifest that gives an eyewitness description of King James' sons, his seed, his sons and his grandsons. And so we have an eyewitness description. John Mackey, a former Secret Service agent for three or four British English kings that give the same description. So for the people who are hell bent on making King James a white male or a European male, they have to understand that there's seven white historians, philosophers, archaeologists, historians that give a detailed description of the early Britons or the early English or the people that overran Western Europe, and it's conclusive. All 6 or 7 of them say right now. There's an image of Grimwald Man, and Grimwald Man is the oldest skeleton cadaver that they found in Europe. It's the oldest skeleton, and it's the skeleton of a black man. And I'm not saying that because it sounds good. I'm saying it because you can, if you're out there, you can fact check us now. Grimwald Man, Grimwald. I think my spelling is correct, and that's just the way it is. We have a geneticist at Harvard University, Dr. Lane Matheson, who states that dark-skinned black people arrived in Europe 40,000 years ago and retained their dark skin far longer than originally thought. These are the kind of comments that these people are making. And what it is, I mean, you have to be realistic. What they're doing is they're trying to cover their ass. There was a time you could just write anything in a book. You didn't have to have statues, artifacts, DNA, none of that. Well, that time has passed. And these people wrote a lot of books and they had zero evidence. And the books that they wrote, everybody was white. Now, guess what? The archaeology is proving that everybody. So now what are they doing? They're trying to cover their tracks. And this is my last point. Why do you think this fake prince married this black girl from America? They're trying to produce black babies to mirror the artifacts that's coming out of the ground in the eyewitness descriptions.
All right, well, God Green just literally asked me this and said you just said description. Have you come across any images of King James looking outside of the images that we see today of him being that pale in complexion?
He's never been described as, well, he's a Scot, and this is the thing. King James was King James King James the Sixth of Scotland, and he became King James the First of England. And this is just the way it is. So the idea now is, we have images and artifacts of his sons. I got an image right now that I'm gonna let them see of King Charles II. King Charles II. King Charles II was a tall black man, but I don't want to go to the images. I want to go to the eyewitness account from the spreadsheets, if I can find them. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to give you my. I need to put this on the screen. So, what was that? Present, right? Present, share screen.
So, people been asking you because I had to ask you didn't show up that day. That's why I'm only starting this off this way with you, because they were like, Mac, you capping if you don't step to him this way, he ain't show up. I knew what was going on, but I need you to just, address this so we can keep it moving. That's all.
Man, we grown folk. We don't do stuff like that.
Yeah,
there was a lot of things that was going on that day. This is not a job. Hey,
exactly.
No, for the people out there, this is not a job for me. I don't work for him.
Me either. And exactly. We doing this. This ain't getting. We ain't getting paid. Right. We ain't getting paid for this. I ain't paying him to do this with me. You know what I'm saying? So this is real talk. So people need to understand that. That's real. I can't front.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on with this guy? Hey, what's going on with that guy?
I've been going through a lot. This guy, but I'm still here. Hey, I ain't getting paid for this either, by the way. Yeah. So. Ain't no pressure. You know what I'm saying? This is what we wanted to do anonymously.
Check this out.
Fuck?
You're right.
Anyway,
we do this because we love you. We do this because we love the people. And I'm gonna tell you something else. If you guys are really concerned about this channel and the information that y'all receive on here, then you guys should be y'all should be dropping real donations, because it's a lot of channels out here, but most of them are they're raw. What's the word? They're full of lies. And you find the truth, you want to keep that truth going. Them little donations, we don't get grants to teach the truth.
You don't get grants to teach the truth.
Giving out grant, man. If you tell a lie, you get hell of a grants in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Huh?
So I see a lot of that. I can tell you, but I ain't gonna talk about them tonight.
I'm looking for the ship's manifest that'll give you an eyewitness description, brother, of these brothers. And I also have another document that I want to show you guys. I was not prepared for this, but this is what I do.
Exactly. I know. I had to keep it real because they wouldn't make. I got to do it like this because people gonna ask me questions. I'm gonna keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Like you said. Well, I got the life. I know you know what happened, but I want you to just ask you this first so we can get this out the way. I want you to just give them that work. Go ahead. You good? Or you froze?
Oh, listen. So the ship's manifest, I was the first one to present a ship's manifest. They gave an eyewitness description, English and the Black Welsh, and this is a run-on sentence. Excuse me for all those hands. And the Black Irish. I was the first one to do that, and I was the first one to prove, without a shadow of doubt, that the Scots were black people, and King James and his sons, they were all black. And we didn't get, and for you, if you out there, or if this is, I don't know, is this live? Are we
Come
live?
on now, Lee. Yeah, you gonna ask the disrespectful. You know we live, bro. You know I'm live with this shit, yeah. He breaking up. Are you here? Is it me?
But listen,
Lee, he breaking up.
What I was going to tell you is,
up. All right.
We would have, and to show you, yeah, I know, right? Like, we back?
Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead. So people can hear you clearly. We live. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna run.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna run the page. I'm going to page. You got a Negro question part 6 with you?
Actually, only thing I brought with me physically. I mean, I could pull it up, but the only thing I have physically is your Negro questions Peter Hero dictionary. I ain't bring nothing else with me tonight. I ain't gonna lie.
Go to page 117.
In this?
Yeah, page 117 in part 6.
Okay.
We're gonna show you a ship's manifest of and another thing that you all have to remember is the white man's history books records prison ships, and they were called the Jacobite prison ships. And on these Jacobite prison ships, you're going to get an eyewitness description of King Stuart and his seed. And I'm pulling it up, but it's like this is the longest it's ever. Here it is, right here.
You said page 117.
On page 136 of part 6.
No, I don't have that book though. All I have is the dictionary. I don't got the book on me though, so I can't even let them see that right now though.
So I'm gonna come out. No, we ain't that. No, that's the dictionary. That ain't got nothing to do with this.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't got the book on me right now. I ain't bring that book with me tonight. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, but people got the reference. So everybody that follows and has bought your books, then they can go to that source. Say it again for them one more time. What book you want to reference again? You just mentioned, because we ain't got it, and I ain't can't show it right now physically.
Are you able to see the screen right here?
You can show it right now, guy. You got it. Yeah, that's it. I see it.
You see that? Okay. Yeah. For the people, for the listening audience, this ship's manifest is from the Veteran in 1745. This was, you know how you went to school and the Gentile or the Anglo-Saxons said that the English emptied out its prisons. They emptied out their prisons, and the worst of the worst was sent into the Americas. Well, they lied. These people were called Jacobites. A Jacobite, if you got a Bible, you read the 49th chapter of Isaiah, the book says some will surname himself after the name Jacob. These were Israelites. And here's an eyewitness description of what they looked like. These Jacobites, they got these Scots in English and British that were sent to North America on ships. Robert Allen, brown, smooth face. William Bell, black, curly hair. Doug Hill Campbell, brown. All these people, if you go down the line, brown and ruddy, brown, pot pick, brown, swarthy, brown, ruddy, red, black, 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 brown. All these people, the Grants, the Camerons, the Davidsons, the Gordons, the Johnsons, the Joiners, all these people are what? These are all black people. They all black, swarthy, red, tawny. You see that? You still with me?
I'm with you, 100%. I mean, I've read it. I know what you're showing me. I've verified it too to make sure you ain't just tell me anything, just like that King James Bible introduction. So I don't have no for my research. I can't.
This is just
telling me nothing else. But
that's a piece of. And then here's the second page. The Macintosh. Some of you all out there, you gonna see your name on here. The McLeods, Morgan, McGillis, McDougal, Ronald McDonald, Nicole, right? The Stewarts. All these people. Look at the color: black, brown, brown, black, 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 brown, black, swarthy black, tall black, ruddy brown. So this eyewitness, this ship's manifest was dated. This is actually a legal document from the nation England. So you can't say we're making this up. And we even got an eyewitness description of King Charles in the not just King Charles, his son King Charles II in the court of England, describing all these brothers as being black. So, you can find all that in my catalog, the Negro Question book series. You can find this information in part 2, part 4, part 6, and part 7. The Swarthy Memoir. Part 4 is the Swarthy Memoir. Part 4 is the Missing Link, and part 7 is the Swarthy Memoirs. That shows you that everybody was black. So you got to ask yourself the question: if I'm a scam artist, how come the white professors and the white scholars have not challenged me since I started writing these type of books? I've been writing these books since 2011. For 13 years, and not one of them has jumped up and said, "Dude is a liar."
That's why I wanted to look too. I looked at anybody that was refuting you, you know what I'm saying, and these certain things that you have put out. And I know a lot of people we call, that are in this information that's live with us right now, have also researched. And that's why I think this is so, even though it's been already going on, I think that it's really is this some made up stuff? But like at the end of the day, the Hebrew influence.
I hope that was the information that you was looking.
No, you gave it to me. I know this, but now when it comes to King James, like I already said this when you didn't show up. I said this on the record when you didn't show up that day, that even if I have not found a picture of King James,
this guy.
No, I'm telling you what I said, so you know I'm keeping it real with you. I have not found a picture of King James as what we know me and you look like in a picture, but from the historical documents of the time frame tied to Scotland and how the people depicted themselves from before he was even born, they're using this term swarthy. They're dealing with a certain language and culture, and they're definitely tied to this Hebrew situation. And what do you say? The dubs, that term dub too. That term dub, that means black. Dub in a language and that culture means black. Not only out of that, but you also showed me, go back to that 1611 introduction real quick, because outside of me asking that question before we get into the other parts of this thing, I want to just cover this. What happened? What you say?
Where's my man's?
Who?
what's the brother name? That was
Monte
in,
or Amos? Shout out to both of them. Who?
I don't know. Is it Amos?
Amos, who showed up that last
The
time.
one that does the Hey You. The one that does the technical part of this.
Oh yeah, well Monte, I was Gotta Green right here. Gotta Green is the technical person of my situation, bro. He here. Yeah, Gotta Green here with me. You heard me? I ain't gonna do this.
Hold on. Hey,
I don't take all the credit. I do this for the team.
You see, brother, right here said Cromwell was destroying a lot of images. This brother got some game right here. Yeah, that's right. And not only that, this brother Huey Freeman, you also know, and I'm pretty sure you know this, but Cromwell sent 100,000 black Irish down into Jamaica and Barbados in 1643. But the white man said that there were no blacks in Europe. So I want you to do some basic math. If Cromwell sent 100,000 black children down into Barbados and down into Jamaica, each one of those children had to have a mother and a father. So basic math tells me there was 300,000 of them before he sent them down in the land. Go ahead, Doc.
I mean, at the same time, you see the people in the chat responding to our conversation live. That Yeah. So now, all right, boom. So you covered that. I ain't gonna hold on to that because we got a lot more stuff to talk about as I got you. Now, first, you know what I mean, Pete, Lee. People have been copyrighting your joint. I heard. Don't tell me get mad at me, but you've been dealing with certain things while you've been busy too, right? And at the same time,
we have people.
What's going on?
Yeah, we've been suing people all over the country, man. But we pulling everything, we getting everything together. Hey, who is Drew? My Bible Culture, the illustrated reference Bible.
I don't know, but I ain't gonna lie. He put it up though, so
yeah.
He said people. Hey, Drew from the Bible Culture, so he hollering at you. I don't know.
Hey, Drew, could you elaborate?
Yeah, put it in the chat, Drew. We're gonna get back at you. In this situation though, of this Lee Cummings joint, we're talking to you about this. All right, look, the introduction, right? Either way, without dispute of anything we can talk about, the facts of, he said Toronto, Canada, by the way.
Oh, I know this. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Shout out to Canada in the building. It says 1611 right here, and this most people don't know that it was taken out, as you told me, and I ain't know about it until I met you. I ain't know that. The whole time I've been reading that Bible, I ain't know. You know what I'm saying? However, so if King James, who you just broke down and how people might will debate about if his complexion was swarthy or not, but however the case, he is the person that is tied to this introduction, that he also authorized that most people in America that are labeled black, Negro, colored, that would subscribe to when it comes to their ecclesiastical understanding of their origins. Would you agree or disagree?
Say it again.
Oh Lord. This introduction, which is tied to the KJV Bible,
right,
that most people don't know about. The average person today that's reading the KJV don't know that this introduction is missing. You know what I'm saying? Right. So these people who are following black, Negro, or colored, and today African Americans, who are following the KJV, but do not know that the introduction was taken out of it along with other things. You know what I'm saying? But this, most importantly, because it's tied to him. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, the thing about it is that this introduction proves that King James was not a Catholic, and there was a war going on between the two churches in 1611. King James Church was the Anglican Church, and you don't hear nobody talking about that church. And the other church was the Catholic Church. And if you read this introduction, if you're out there, you're going to see where King James or King Charles put a hit out on the Pope and all his prelates, or what you call his bishops, his monks, and things. It's right there in the bowels of that 1611 introduction. And so therefore, when you go purchase a Bible, You don't even know, like the brother said 2 times or 3 times, that the introduction has been removed. It's been removed for a reason, because they don't want you to know the truth. You got a pastor who's supposed to be all knowing and all seeing. They call themselves apostles, bishops, pastors, and they don't even know. They walk around, they driving all these cars, they got mega churches, and don't even know that this introduction is missing from their Bible.
Hey, and you put me on to it, so I always got to. I think that's very important. I think if people don't catch that, I think the people that ain't gonna relate to understanding maybe or even our conversation. When the fact that, and in this link that's here tonight in God Green, for those who watching live, put this link in the chat because they might not know, and they can read it for themselves of what King James authorized the book, but his own words, because he didn't subscribe, obviously. Well, he authorized people to translate the Bible into English, but he told people that the base root of this book goes back to Hebrew. Am I right or wrong about that, Lee?
Yeah, he tells you, he states, or the translators they state emphatically that that they translated the King James Bible from the original Hebrew tongue. And this is
right
in this introduction. You don't have to believe me. What these people in this country have been, promoting is that that the Bible was translated from Latin and Greek. No, the Old Testament was translated 100% from Hebrew, O-B-R, H-O-B-R, Hebrew.
That can be pronounced I-V-R-I, I-B-R-I.
Well, that's how the European Jews pronounce it, I-V-R, but there's no V in Hebrew, so it has to be O-B. It's O-B as H-O-B-R, Hebrew or Hebrew.
Around. What's the next story? What next one? I want to leave it, because we got him. He answered my questions with that. Hope everybody else in the chat, anybody in the chat that you see that had a good question they want to ask real quick in the segue, put it in the chat real quick. And if you think it's hot, we put it up there. And we're gonna let y'all ask y'all a question while y'all live with us too. You hear me? So and my next part though, when it comes down to before you came on live with us tonight, in 1492, Hebrew influence. The people that and what's going on in the world, not even just here, the New World they call it, but the world at that time are dealing with the Inquisition. And shout out to Tecumseh. The Inquisition is a situation that is infecting the world based off the Roman Catholic Church, historically speaking. There are papal bulls being passed, and as much people love to talk about Spain, but Portugal and their relationship with the Roman Catholic Church predates Spain. You know what I'm saying? People might not understand that probably, and how people who call Sephardic Jews, people like what the New York Times just recently posted about the person they call or recall historically Christopher Columbus would have been basically a Sephardic Jew. You know what I'm saying? They just put this out on October 13th, 2024. Did you hear about that, Lee?
Say it again. I didn't hear that.
The person we know today that they say discovered the New World in 1492 was now said to be acknowledged as a Sephardic Jew.
But it was already Jews here.
Exactly. So, I mean, now how that part comes into play, I played a video earlier for that. I know I ain't gonna got time. But I mean, in your opinion of understanding that people were speaking the language of Hebrew coming into the New World, they call it, in 1492, already being in this land amongst indigenous people, is going to lead to this right here. You see the link right here? You see what's on screen? I want to read something to you. I want you to tell me what you think. You know what I mean? I got to throw this at you. Tell me what you think. You know what I mean? Because it was tied to the video, and I wanted to get to it like this. Can you make it a little bit bigger? My eyes ain't doing good, God. I want everybody to make sure they see it too. I can't read it. I know they sure they ain't going to see it. There we go. That's good enough. So obviously they go into the saga and everything right here. I'm trying to find a part because I don't want to waste nobody's time on this. But we gonna put this link in the chat too. Scroll down a little bit, guys. Oh no, there it is, right there. That third paragraph, right there. The subject was so fascinating that it led Jose Rodriguez dos Santos to write a competent novel about the Portuguese, Lusitanians, by the way, citizen Salvador Fernandez Zarco. See, this is the other guy's name that people are debating right now that the New York Times actually just dropped. That shout out to Curimeo, and you've been a guest with us with him. We did a show with you a while back with him, and dealing with the Moranos, and I thought from then to how I feel now, obviously from things we've read and he's read and certain things, that this person that would be considered a Portuguese person is going to be tied to the person that we know today, popularly known as a pseudonym, as it says there, who under the pseudonym of Christopher Columbus discovered the New World, which we call today the Americas, in 1492. Now go back to his name real quick, guys. Scroll back again so people can see that. It says Salvador, versus right. Keep going. Salvador, keep going, God. To the right. Yeah, right there. Salvador Fernandez Zarco. And then after that is why I said the pseudonym, and I can stop right there. That word was pseudonym of Christopher Columbus. So that's another name. Like, you crypto for real. They would say crypto Jews. This is the perfect scenario of a crypto Jew. His name is this, but underneath the Catholic situation, he's moving underneath the pseudonym of being called Christopher Columbus. And him coming into the New World is showing in this document that I found, in this whole conversation, I would like, hey, and as it says, 80 years of literature have done nothing to alter the textbooks, but the late subject has gained a sudden renewal of interest. Now, these people are covering this shit like crazy, as Curimeo covered it, saying that he covered it a year ago, and we've been talking about this for a while since I've had you on here, that, this word Negro is tied to this person they were called Jew or Yahudi, who obviously would have ancestral ties to people who spoke Aramaic or Hebrew, and even later Arabic, and then obviously, Ladino, Latin, languages in the time periods of the time frame of this person we know as today, Christopher Columbus, Zarco, in this document. Slide down, guys. I'm showing the pictures. I ain't gonna read this whole thing. We're gonna throw it in the chat and I'll send it to you, Lee. You know what I mean? Because this is something that's interesting. But get to that Portuguese part right there in that paragraph right there. Stop right there. All Portuguese forebears showed us that not only were they capable of giving a new world to the old, but were able as well to invent the most intricate, slide back, plots using the most cunning and stratagems to pull the wool over the eyes of more unaware. Now look, I've been telling people, and I'm telling you tonight, Lee, in my understanding of what Portugal is tied to Rome, it's in Rome's eyes, in its origin, is going to be Lusitania. Before the reconquest of them taking over areas that they lost before 500 AD, Rome, when they go back into the reconquest of these areas, like Spain, Castile, Aragon, Lusitania, we know as today Portugal, Portuguese people, are already doing a lot of things in West Africa, North Africa, and I would even say, with Christopher Columbus being he's from Cuba, out of Portugal, what we call today the New World. Today we're here a long time after that, but what you think about what I just read, Lee? I just wanted to show this up here.
I just think it's it's interesting, but they use information like this to try to say, well, this is how the Hebrew customs made its way to the Middle Passage and to the slave coast in West Africa, and the reason why there's vestiges or remnants of Hebrewism in North America. So, but what they don't realize is ships came from Ghana in the 13th century, right around the 14th century, right around 1350, 1320. The King of Mali sent 2,000 ships into North America. That was almost 100 and some odd years before this Christopher Columbus even got here. 2,000 ships, man. First 200 ships left, and then they sent 2,000 ships. Man, that's a whole nation, bro. And we don't know how many people on the ship. So you send 2,000 ships, and you figure there's 50 to 100 people on the ship. That's about 300. What is that? 300,000 people. It sent the whole nation over here. And what people don't know about Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, those were Hebrew nation. They were Hebrews, and the kings were Hebrews.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm not made. This is, I tell people all the time, I don't live in a world where I dream that my truth is the truth. I live in a world where I present the evidence. I had to convince myself that the things that I wrote were true. So I had to go out and get the evidence.
When as you said that, they always talk about him. I just want to bring him back up because I played the clip, and I had to get to business first because I ain't seeing him in there, right? And I appreciate you tonight. You already know what it is, Lee. You know what I mean? You is. I appreciate you, dog. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't know my relationship with you. See, I keep it live with you. Me and you have a relationship offline, so I really appreciate you already know what it is. Me and you know what it is.
Hey, let the people chime in. Let's see if they got statements.
Oh yeah, we live on Sunday. Anybody that want to tap in, let's go.
Tap in. Got a question or a statement? Go ahead.
Yeah, before we get into anything else. Anybody got anything you want to say? We're gonna put it up on the screen right now. We got Lee with us dealing with this Hebrew influence of people labeled today by Obama, by the way, recently speaking. African Americans. Yeah.
Is that it? No questions, no statements.
Ain't nobody. I guess they riding with us though, because we got people in the chat though. They there. We got. I see who with us. I want to hit you. We live now.
I want to hit you.
I see the numbers.
I want to hit you with the drill.
Go ahead.
See, black people don't realize that you have legitimate Hebrew customs in our communities, and I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna do something different. I had a Bible. I had a red. Oh, there it is. It was right. It was hiding. I want to read something. I want to show you where cornbread came from. Cornbread was a Hebrew concept. I'm going to Isaiah. This ain't Bible study, y'all, but Isaiah the 28th chapter, the 28th verse, and I'm going to show you that this was a Hebrew. That cornbread that Big Mama made, and that I know how to make, and that some of you women know how. Some of y'all can still cook out there, right? Okay. We're going to show you that cornbread was a Hebrew custom. We was the first ones that did that. That's where it came from. You grew up eating cornbread not knowing that the Hebrews invented this. Isaiah 28:28, it says, bread corn is bruised, because he would not ever be thrashing it, nor break it with the wheel of his cart, nor bruise it with his horsemen. This also cometh forth from the Lord of hosts, which is wonderful in counsel and excellent in working. We were the first people to eat cornbread. So you grew up in the ghetto, we eat cornbread. Where did it come from? The Hebrew Israelites. See, so you have Hebrew, yeah, he looked at it, he said, what? Yeah, we have Hebrew customs in the ghetto, in the hood, that came, these are, y'all doing it and don't even know why you did. How we make cornbread? Like, I want to show y'all one more thing.
And just people say corn came from hell, so that's how, like, I ain't gonna get into that.
Cornbread was something that came. What's the Aramaic word for man? There are two words. One word, little ninja, One word is Ayish, A-Y-S-H. Another word for man is Adam, A-D-M. Okay, and those are the two words that we have for men. One is Adam, and the other one is Ayish. And wait a minute, there's a third word. It's called
Inash or Inish. So Inish could be with an E or with an I. Can it be both?
There's no E or I. It has to be with an A.
So it's Anash.
Well, Anash is a word that we use for men, not man.
Okay.
So say
Singular,
men,
not
you
plural.
say a Nash.
Not singular.
You say a Nash when you say men. You say Yish when you say man, and you say Adam when you say man.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. It's saying that, obviously like bar, like how we say son of man, bar Enosh, or bar Enash.
Son of man in Aramaic would not be bar Enos. Son of man in Aramaic would be bon, B-A-N, and then it'd be ban ma, which is the mem, which means of, and then you could go yish, or you can go Adam, and like he just put up on the screw, Hebrew is it, but there is no I in Hebrew, so it has to be Aleph. It would be the Aleph Yad Shin Ayish. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Biblical Hebrew is only like 900 to 1,000 years old. I mean, no. I said that backwards. Biblical Hebrew is 6,000 years old. Modern Hebrew or Yiddish is only 1,000 years old. What is Yiddish? Yiddish is nothing but a bunch of European dialects mixed with Hebrew. That's all it is. It's not, and so technically it's a bastard form of Hebrew. It's not real Hebrew. It's not similar. It's similar only for you men out there. It might be some sisters. If I say for you brothers, I would say aheya, A-H-A-Y, ahay, brother. If I would say sister, I say ahut, A-H-U-T or A-H-W-T. So for you brothers, you ahayas and ahoots, it's similar. It's the best example is an engine block. When you first buy an engine block, it has nothing on it, brand new block. Then they start adding the transmission. Then they start adding horns. They add the radiator. They add all these things that go to it. And this is what the European Jews did with our language. They used Aramaic as the block, and they started adding all that other stuff to it. And so the Yiddish, they don't rely on the root. Aramaic, we rely entirely on the root. So that's the difference. And I hope I said that in an intelligent manner. But
I mean, so in the same situation, like how people today, they say alpha and omega, like that Greek shit we talked about a couple weeks ago. Alpha and omega are Greek terms. But in the Hebrew situation, wouldn't it be like Aleph Tav, right? Tav or Tau, right? Like,
hold on 2 seconds. He said Hebrew isn't a real language that was spoken in ancient time. It's made up. The Bible isn't a historical book, so how can you prove it without using the Bible? He said Hebrew is not a real language. So what I'm going to show you real quick, I'm going to show you Hebrew is indeed a real language. And we're going to show you.
It is a real language. I don't know where they got that from.
No, we don't do that. The way we do business is.
But they speaking in English, and that's a real language, but Hebrew is not a real language. No. I don't know what their problem is, but okay. You speaking English on the text to us, that's the white man's language, they would say.
No,
but the Hebrew is not a real language? I don't understand.
That's how we do it. What we do is we show the evidence that Aramaic is a real language. What I want to do, I want to show this brother this screen, and so he can see it for himself. Because the idea is this: we don't insult one another. And so what we do is we just show you. You know, the best way you can do that. Hey, you know what? We used to have a saying that a picture was better than 1,000 words. How that sound? So we could talk all day, But if I got the evidence and you can see it for yourself, then maybe I could persuade you. But I can't persuade you if I talk down to you and I don't have evidence. So here's the evidence right here. Now I got the share screen up. Can you see this, sir? Yo, Mac.
I see it.
Okay. I want to make sure you can see it so the brother can see it. Now, brother, this is called the Mesha steel or the Moabite steel. It was the carbon dating on this stone is anywhere from 850 to maybe 750 BC. And this is ancient Aramaic Hebrew. This is from a real live stone that's in the British Museum. It's also in the museum that's in Chicago. I forget the name of it. But it's also in down in Berlin in the Pergamon Museum. So this is an authentic stone from 850 to 750 DC carbon dating that shows the original Aramaic Hebrew language. This is just one of the stones that's available to us. And then what I'd like to show you guys is a picture of the Leviticus steel. Let's see if I got this scroll. And then because now, brother, you can go do your research on this. And then
do your research.
Do your research. And then after you do your research, then now you can make another, if we come back on here again, and I don't care what the show is, you bring it up. We'll deal with it. But
here's easy. I can do that easy right now. We ain't gotta waste no time with that, Lee. We ain't gonna do that. Like, cause look, if people gonna acknowledge an English language and say that, as he said in the chat after that, he put that English comes from Latin. So Latin is tied to Rome. So how can you say that Latin is tied to Rome and Greek is tied to Rome from their early empires of things and the languages of Latin and Greek tied to it, which he says English comes from Latin, but at the same time, the alphabetical system of what we call ABCs and A through Z, Alpha, Omega, that Greek shit these people subscribe to, there's a correlation that Aleph and Tav, which is tied to a language, is there. What are they talking about?
Now, to the brother that's out there that made the comment,
this is better than me.
This is a copy. This is a copy of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and this is the Leviticus. This was a part of Leviticus, an ancient scroll from that they found in the Qumran caves. And this scroll right here is talking about the Day of Atonement, how they were supposed to bring the sacrifice to Aaron. This is Aleph Het Resh Nun to Aaron, the brother of Moses. And then it talks about, we don't get into it because we're not here. I'm not here to impress you, but it said this, Be'ah, bring to Aaron, okay? And it talks about washing the sacrifice and dividing the sacrifice. So you might want to do your due diligence now. We make comments, but you want to be careful the kind of comments that you're making because it's just too much evidence out here to refute some of these comments. Like that, me myself personally, I don't talk unless I know what I'm talking about. So we have to start doing that as scholars. We got to be mindful that folk are always waiting to discredit us. So
always
there's your evidence, and that's only two pieces of evidence. And that stone steel I showed you, the Mesha steel, it mentions King Omri. You said, can I prove it without a Bible? It mentions King Omri, which is in the Bible. It mentions King David, which is in your Bible. It mentions the tribe Gad, the nation Yisrael, which is in the Bible. So your question was, can you do it without the Bible? Yes, I can. Next, we got anybody else? Okay, well, all right, let's go back to Mac.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lee, as people, at home, who came in the chat, and I don't want to pronounce the name wrong, Kevion, I think I would pronounce it my way, said the Egyptian thing. But the Egyptians, just like the Romans, are mentioning in historical texts that they both conquered a people we recorded they called Hebrews. Am I right or wrong?
They didn't conquer the Hebrews.
I'm saying from the, you know what I mean? They both mention the Romans and the Egyptians both are being mentioned in contact with people that today people call Hebrews, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I want.
That's historical. I mean, just for the people in the audience that are not accustomed to hearing this type of wisdom, Moses, the prophet, was named after the pharaohs of the 18th dynasty. That dynasty of pharaohs all had the last name Moses. And so why did they name Moses Moses? Because he was adopted by the pharaoh with the last name Moses from the 18th dynasty. You can fact check me right now. Pull up 18th dynasty of Egypt, and the pharaoh of the Exodus was Tutmosis I. His brother was Moses, Moses, which is almost like Moses, which is the brother of Moses. And then his father was Moses. And this was the old man that adopted Moses right around 1550 BC. Now, the pharaoh with the last name Moses, the pharaoh of the Exodus, was dated at 1496 BC. These are facts, man. And for you Egyptologists that are out there, there's an Egyptian historian. What's this boy's name? Manate, the Egyptian historian. No, let's take it to Josephus in the Antiquity of the Jews. He writes that Tutmosis' daughter, he almost names her Tutmosis in his writings. So he pinpoints the 18th dynasty of Egypt vaguely, but the way I determined that it was the 18th, we didn't have any books on this. I put a timeline together. And when I put that timeline together, the 18th dynasty of Egypt was the dynasty that had the last name Moses. This is a no-brainer. So if you don't believe this, what else? What you gonna believe? It is.
Hey, people have a lot of beliefs out here.
What is the probability? What is the probability of a dynasty of Egyptian pharaohs with the last name Moses? And Moses' name itself is not Hebrew; it is Egyptian. You can't name another Negro, another Hebrew that was called Moses after his birth and death to this day. And if you look in the book of Chronicles, ain't nobody named Moses in the book of Chronicles. The Levites never named another man Moses. That was an Egyptian name. So we really don't know his name. Try that one. All we know is his last name was Israel. We don't know his first name. We don't know his Hebrew name. We knew his Egyptian name. Anybody else?
Lord have mercy, look at me. That's how I know you ain't bored. Anybody else? Oh well, he might have one more thing. Let me see. Anybody else besides the brother that
It don't have.
We're gonna turn it into a back and forth live on this conversation tonight.
It don't have to be relegated to this. We have to open all questions.
Yeah. I want to, because this is what we know factually. People can say it don't exist. So in a manner that him saying that it don't exist, we have a Hebrew language that follows up into America, and they passing, like, if the Hebrew situation don't exist, why is the Roman Catholic Church doing an inquisition against people we call today Jews?
What is this brother saying right here? Is fish on Friday?
No, that's Miss Angela. That's shout out to Miss Angela right there. That's a woman.
Tell her, no, I think that's a Catholic custom. I think that's a Catholic custom, and I think they do that during Lent. But the Hebrews never did Lent, and we have to answer your question, sister, the dietary law in the I think it's the 11th chapter Leviticus it allows you to eat meat, fish any day of the week, and the only prerequisite is that it must have fins and scales.
I'm just trying to still understand how people can deal with what we speaking on right now. We on this app speaking English that's tied to what they call Germanic languages.
Right.
In the Bible, that King James, that some people might even subscribe to being. So that's why I'm glad it happened this way, see, Lee, because if people debated us about King James being a white person, or if he's a black person, he still put that introduction out based off the KJV that's popularly widely known for people in America to be dealing with in their translation, right? So if they don't know that this man was white or black, like Michael Jackson would say, but he still got told you that the language, as him being a sovereign of the 13 colonies founding, that he was not with the Roman Catholic bullshit, and he was definitely got saying to you that the Hebrew language inspired him to not be with the Roman Catholic bullshit, based off him understanding in his sovereign position as a Scottish man not to follow this Roman shit that the English people were dealing with.
Right.
Am I wrong?
Well, you know,
from your opinion, I should say. You know what I mean? From your research, and you know what I mean? Like when you being the author of this.
I mean,
situation.
In order to answer this question, you would have to read one of the books that King James wrote. Now, King James wrote a lot of King James wrote a lot of books, and one book that he wrote is called the Basilica Duran.
Right.
The Basilica Duran, King James he states his position plainly. He says that he is not a Catholic out of his own mouth and his own writings. And that he would not be caught eating with a Catholic. This is what King James said. He told his son, King Charles I, don't do it. And he did. He got his head cut off.
Yep.
So if you think that we're not bashing the Catholic Church, we're not into bashing religions, races, or people, we're not into that. So we're going to issue that disclaimer right now. We just simply tell
I am not either.
We're just simply telling you on this show that King James wrote in the Basilica Duran, and I could actually pull that up for you from one of my books, where you can see from his own mouth, his own hand, that he was not a Catholic and he didn't observe nothing that they did. So that is not on us. We just, like we used to always say, don't shoot the messenger. We just report the news. That's all we're doing tonight.
That's all we're doing.
Somebody will hear this and take it out of context and say, "Oh, that was racially motivated. That is some hate-mongering conversation." We don't do that. We have zero interest in hating anybody.
I mean, I have this book. You see this book, Lee?
Yeah,
everybody out there.
Oh, this the question they just asked. What are your thoughts on the records of the Dead Sea Scrolls from the Zadokite priests in the Qumran? Brother Freeman, if they were translated from ancient Aramaic, I got to go with it. But what I would like to see, because I can translate and I'm a linguist, what I would like to see is the copy of the manuscripts that they copied it from, because what I just showed you guys, when I showed you that Leviticus scroll, I think it was from the 13th or the 14th chapter of Leviticus, that is a copy of an actual Dead Sea Scroll. So that's all I tell anybody when they bring the books. They say, "Oh, these books were left out the Bible." So well, let me see a copy of the original, and let me translate it myself. So those are my thoughts.
Lee.
Yeah,
Lee. So I want to make sure you see this book I put up here.
Yeah, that's what he just asked a question about.
No, he ain't asked a question about this.
Yeah, he did.
But if he did, and I didn't know it. I'm just saying that I want to make sure I'll point out that in this book, anybody that want to go and talk about Christopher Columbus in this joint too, right here. Right?
Yeah, that brother just talks so hard. Sure did.
He talking about. He talks about him, and his influence is tied to certain things, and I just want to say anybody can go, check it out. You know what I mean? I just want to reference something, so that shows that the influence of America is being tied to certain groups of people in the Inquisition time frame. My next link though, 'cause I know time's short. You heard me, Lee.
Yeah.
So is there something I want to show real quick? Let me pull this up. And I want your thoughts on this too, with the influence things that I'm finding. And you know, I can mention a lot of people's names: Nat Turner, Gabriel, a lot of other people. John, even or white people too, like they call John Brown. They are influenced by the Old Testament, the Gideon Society, John Brown, Gabriel Nat Turner, the Old Testament, and a lot of everything's really tied to this, inspiring people to even revolt. Dealing with the wars tied to America, it's tied to the Old Testament understanding of them people being treated by the Egyptians or by the Romans a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that is actually shown in the documents of what these people were inspired by to revolt against what they were being oppressed by in slavery narrative. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where people are like trying to excuse it today, but that is traditionally something that's tied to the American Negro, that is tied to the American Revolutionary time frame, which is tied to the Negro War time frame. It's tied to a lot of things, you know what I mean, of our people labeled Negro. Hebrew influences inspiring us to definitely get our redemption, Gullah, as we've been showing out to y'all. Gullah. You know what I mean? Redemption, that's a Hebrew word.
This guy.
Yeah, I got to keep it real because people
yeah.
you feel me? Like redemption is Gullah, so I'm going to keep that's a Hebrew word. I inspired the Gullah Wars, the Negro War. Negro tied to the Hebrews in history too. Simon the Niger, he's a Negro. Like cavalry, like this shit is inspiring us to go against our oppressors who treat us a certain way based off of an ancient situation tied to this Bible. People get caught up in the dogmatic docile shit, Lee. I ain't that person.
Right.
So we're gonna pull up the next link though. Pull up the next joint, y'all. Real quick. I'm gonna pull up the next joint. This is literally, I want to ask you this question too. Because anybody that watched our show a couple weeks ago, we did the Greek influence on the African Americans. So I had to have you a guess for the Hebrew influence of the what Obama calls today the African American, right? So at the end point of it, he did. This word boule. You see that word boule and that word boulette right there, right?
Let me see.
Lee, you see it? You see that word on the screen? Anybody out there?
Yeah.
We brought this up last week, so I'm trying to make it a connection for y'all to see. Bring it down, Ruben. It says, what is the etymology of the word boule in Greek in context of the Bible? And being that the Bible, right, we know originally was in Aramaic and Hebrew text. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Original?
That's according to the King James introductory page.
Exactly. So the people who diluted from the Hebrew understanding of the text and went into what we call today the Greek and then later the Latin text are the people who today are tied to heritage-wise, which stood in Negro, being called boule, right?
Okay.
All right, now look, make it bigger, guys. I want everybody to see this.
That's a Greek term.
It's a Greek term, but it was seducing. I'm gonna show it. I'm gonna let people see it for themselves.
What's the word mean?
Oh, the word. Here we go. The word boule, or with the U-T-E-S, boulettes, is a Greek term that appears in the New Testament of the Bible in the original Greek text. It is used to refer to a member of the council or assembly, often translated as a counselor or a counselor member in English, since the nigga was asking that question in English, version of the Bible to understand the full meaning of boulette with the U-T-E-S in Greek in the context of the Bible. It is essential to delve into the etymology. Go down, guys. It says the term boulettes is derived from the Greek word boule, as popularly known as amongst Negroes today. And it says, which means council or deliberative body. The root word signifies a group of individuals who come together to discuss, advise, or make decisions in ancient Greek culture. The boule was a council or assembly that played a crucial role in the governance and decision-making within a city-state. Look. Now, this is the last part now. Lee, I want you to hear this last part now. I want your part after this. I want your thoughts. It says, the New Testament, particularly in the book of Acts, the term Boule with the UTES is used to describe individuals who are part of the Sanhedrin, the Jewish council in Jerusalem. The Sanhedrin was a religious and judicial body responsible for interpreting and enforcing Jewish law, which would be the Torah in Aramaic, Hebrew language.
Yeah, but that word right there we would never. The word we use is yalsa, and
what do you mean by that?
Yals or yes, it's spelled AYAS, and it could be spelled OYAS. So
as far as what? As far as what?
For council.
All right, okay. You can use the word translation.
You giving us you giving the Greek. We see.
I understand that you're translating.
Let me finish. Mm-hmm. Hebrew Israelites are fanatics.
I know that. They're zealots.
We fanatical in wearing fringes. We fanatical in the language. We fanatical in the land. We fanatical in the script. So when it comes to using terminology, etymology of other races, we would never do that.
Why not?
Because we were always clinging to our heritage.
At the same time, though,
and we always say, no, I'm just telling you what's real, G.
But in the same text, the same only comes that the death. Wait.
Understand. I'm trying to.
But wait, Lee. All I'm pointing out in this document is that there is people who obviously would be tied to you from a lineage standpoint, ethnicity standpoint, a national standpoint, but obviously sided and went into governing their own people as gatekeepers at that time under the Greek Roman rule. That's historical too. So just like if the Greek has an influence on African Americans, well, the people who became the Greek in origin were people actually in the body politic called Sanhedrin in the New Testament who were tied to being Hebrew people who took on seducing ways. Bougie, we call it today. That's how I look at it.
You're wrong again.
Go ahead. All right, go ahead. Break it down.
The Sanhedrin.
So what is the Sanhedrin?
The Sanhedrin and the Essenes, they are responsible for the scrolls that were found in the Qumran caves.
Okay.
Hence the phrase the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Right. Someone asked the question.
So as late as, I don't know, 20, 30 AD, when they go inside the caves, bro, everything, the Isaiah scrolls, all these scrolls are written in Aramaic. Them brothers didn't have Greek. They didn't have no Greek.
I ain't saying that. No, I'm not saying that.
I'm just giving this information for the people in the audience.
But I'm saying about the people that took on the ways that knew about what you're talking about. See, there's people who sold out to understand that their language at that time is traditionally Aramaic and Hebrew, but because of what they're doing in their titles, dealing with the Roman Greek influence, are tied to these body politics, who are actually the ones in position who are tied to this situation of taking on the Greek traditions of things. In some cases.
We didn't do that, bro.
So who the Boule is then?
We didn't do that.
Who the Boule is then?
Look, you got the Don, you got me on this one. I don't know.
Okay. I want to ask the question. I brought it up last week. I mean, a couple of weeks ago. The Boule is tied to the Sanhedrin. That's the etymology of the word. So who else? Who? Oh, okay.
I never heard the term.
But hey, our talented 10, our Boule, they talking about people that's tied to our educational system, Boule, the Divine Nine, all that Greek shit tied to our colleges, the HBCU. This word Boule is tied to that, and obviously, this is the origin of it. It's tied to the biblical situation of people that sold out Yahshua at the time frame of what was going on underneath Roman, being subject to Rome.
You have to understand the mental psyche of the Israelites.
I understand that too.
Once you understand the mental psyche of a Hebrew Israelite, then you will understand that even though these people are claiming that these books were translated into that this language was written into Greek, what you'll start realizing is no matter what that is, even if it was translated into Greek, the Hebrews would have died first. See, if you know the history of Israel, then you would understand the history of the Maccabees. Now, who are the Maccabees? Well, these
they wasn't revolted against the situation tied to them people like this.
They revolted against. I'm gonna teach you today. They revolted against the Syrians under Antiochus Epiphanes, right around 165, 167 BC. But what's so unique about the Maccabees? They were so fanatical, bro, that they were willing to fight to the last man. And during the days of Hadrian, 132, 136 AD. There was something, what was it called? It was a fortress in Jerusalem where the people fought. They killed themselves rather than allowing themselves to be taken as Roman prisoners. And this is real. So when you understand the mental psyche of the people, then you can make comments concerning the people. So even though these books, some of these documents were read, translated into Greek and Latin, it has nothing to do with us. It's just like they got documents now that's been translated from African tongues into English. What do the Africans have to do with that? Not a thing.
No, look, this is the problem I see though, Lee. See, in the periods of being folks who today subscribe to being obviously in the periods of being a zealot, I would call that's a term that's used actually in the same document for those who are very fanatical about their traditions underneath the Torah of the Old Testament. But obviously, there's a groups of people that I like to call, and I said it. Remember, God, you had to fix me. I said Sadducee, right?
Right.
Sadducees. The Sadducees. I say, see, in America, in certain Southern culture, we say Sadducee, but I know what that means. As you just said, the Sadducees. The Sadducees is tied to in our churches in the South of the folk that we look at as being the sedity bougie motherfuckers that thought that they was better than the rest of the folk within the congregation type shit. We call them Sadducee. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, the lay person might not understand that, by the way, but I ain't getting into that tonight. I'm only going into the fact that this document and then this word tied to if it was a Greek influence, I have to acknowledge too, for anybody that say they're a Negro or African American colored folk, well, you were influenced, especially if you went to any church in America prior to even 1965, right? Them churches that were already here, then you were influenced by the Old Testament and obviously the Greek. And that shit, Greek ain't here by no accident, just like that Hebrew language is tied to America too. So I have to go with the good, bad, and the ugly. And at the end of the day, that's why the scripture is going to say right there. It's going to say right there, one notable instance where the term boule is mentioned is in Luke 22:66.
No, it ain't.
It describes. Okay, well, go ahead. That's why I wanted to ask you.
No, it ain't. That word is not in the Bible.
It's not in the word. It's not in the Bible.
Hey, where is Luke? What? I got a Bible. Luke what?
Go ahead, pull it up.
All right. Well, Luke what?
I want to make sure. Why are they using this word this way? Who the boule is then?
What chapter and verse?
All I got to leave it says Luke 22:66. And it says, as when they came, the assembly of the elders of the people, and it says, gathered together both chief priests and scribes, and they all, led him away to their council and said,
where's the word boule?
What?
I thought you said the word boule. That's
again.
Right.
I'm showing you what it's saying. I got you. All right, I got what you said. All right, when you get to fanatics of it.
Now run that.
Hey, that's the fanatics of it. No. That's the fanatics of it now, Lee, because you know good and well when Yahshua HaMashiach was speaking Aramaic, it was the Roman council that was governing over them in their native land. Am I wrong about that? Was not Rome over and governing over Yahshua HaMashiach at the time frame of when he was living? Yes or no?
No, they wasn't governing over the one that they called Jesus. You tried to get slick.
So I ain't being slick because that's what you're saying right now. What do you mean now? How did Greek shit get into this Hebrew thing now?
Let's deal with the thing with Yeshua, the Messiah.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, then.
Now listen, it was an occupation.
That's what you want to call it?
It was, that's what it was. It was an occupation.
So the people that's in America right now, an example, that are indigenous here can say that the Europeans are just dealing with an occupation.
This is an occupation. America's
Okay, so at the same time, it's the same shit, right?
It's
Right,
an
so
occupation
it's the same,
and a colonization.
It's the same thing, Lee. That's
Right.
the same
So
thing,
what's
Lee.
the point? Because look, I can show you.
So what I'm saying is, man, he
you
understands that he was in an exile position based off of understanding that the people who have an occupation of who they're native to in their land are making decisions, and some people who are their traditions are siding with the occupation side rather than their native side of what's going on in the time frame of the biblical book.
Right, but I don't understand. I mean, work with me here, because you know what?
All right, I'm talking to you.
I ate already.
Okay, my bad.
So
my bad, Lee.
What
My
is
bad.
doing?
You know
I'm
we
trying
just
to
talking
figure out
live.
what is
We
the
just talking
point.
live.
No,
Well, my problem
what
is
is the
this. My
point?
problem is this. I can say this to you. My point of being a problem is that people with the Hebrew influence, if clearly we could show that the African Americans have institutions tied to the Greek situation. Obviously, we also can show Americans, and I can mention their names, in revolts, fighting against slavery, as people call it, in the Americas. You know what I'm saying? Documented, and they're not Greek influence, they're Old Testament Hebrew influence based off of you, obviously knowing that the Torah was not written based off the Old Testament original document in nothing Greek or Latin, right?
Okay, I'm good with that.
Okay. So at the end of the day, I'm only stating from that standpoint of my point of making is that the people traditionally speaking a Hebrew, an Aramaic, at the time frame of dealing with Rome, or even people who are dealing with the Greek situation that obviously say they're influenced from Egypt and don't say they're influenced from the Hebrew, but they definitely are in contact with people who are called Hebrew speaking people based off the language that the other brother who came on this chat earlier was saying that, oh, Hebrew's not a language, and I'm disagreeing with him. I'm saying to you, like, I know it's a language, just like Aramaic is a language, just like Arabic's a language. You know, Syriac is a language. Chaldean is a language. You know what I'm saying? Akkadian is a language. I can keep going. But at the same time, we understand that the people that's speaking, they're dealing with the occupation of a foreign nation or empire, Rome, and they're influenced by Greece, the Greeks. There's people that's dealing with that. Go ahead.
All right, let me show you something.
Go ahead, rock me out before we leave out of here tonight.
I'm gonna show you that no matter what they was writing, bro, we wasn't with it. Go to Matthew. We in Matthew's the 27th chapter in verse 46. Matthew's 27 and 46. And it says, and about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Let me say it again. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. And they said, that is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? That's a lie. That is not what that means in Aramaic. And they don't hold on. And they don't tell you the scribe is right. He don't tell you that this is a Greek translation.
I agree. So I don't like that Greek shit.
No, what we would have said was lay alhim, my God, my God. Then what we would have said was, we would have said ma etihi, or we might have said etakal azaba le. What? Which means, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? So I'm trying to show you. This is what they wrote in the Hebrews book, but it is not what it says in Aramaic. You feeling me on this? So
I understand what you're saying.
But you see the book throughout.
I agree with that. I don't have no disagreement with that.
Just let me get my lyrics up.
My bad. Go ahead. My bad.
Check this out. When Israel was down, when Judah, Benjamin, and Levi was down in Babylon during the days of Esther, go back and read the story of Esther, Mordecai, and Haman. Haman's argument, complaint against the Jews was that they did not regard none of their customs. When the Romans occupied Jerusalem or Israel or Judea in the times of John the Baptist and Yeshua the Mashiach or Jesus Christ, the anointed, we didn't observe none of their customs. You know how I know? We kept the Sabbath day. We kept the Sabbath day. The Romans kept Sunday.
I get that part too.
We worship.
I understand that part too.
We worship Yahweh, and the Romans worship Jupiter.
I have no issues with that part either.
Right, but the point that I'm trying to drive home for the listening audience is the Hebrews are not like other people. You can occupy the land. You can have one of the strongest militaries in the world, the Romans, and we still ain't gonna capitulate ideologically. I want you to. I'm gonna slow that video down for a minute, and I'm gonna hit stop, pause, and I'm gonna go rewind, play. I don't care what you do to a Hebrew. He would rather die than to capitulate, than to shed his ideology. That's when Daniel and the other Hebrew boys got thrown into the fiery furnace. They wouldn't give in. They told the prophet Daniel. They said, man, don't pray. Daniel opened up his window and prayed toward Jerusalem. They threw him into the lion's den. So when it comes, I'm trying to give you guys the insight into the mindset of a Hebrew Israelite. You look, they appear normal on the outside, but when it comes to these scriptures, you dealing with a cat that's willing to die.
I get that part.
Yeah,
that's what I call Israelites.
Because I know, because I'm just like that. I'm just normal.
But you recognize Yahshua though.
Who, Yeshua?
You Yeshua. You recognize Yeshua. I say Yahshua.
Yeah,
Yahshua.
That's my or Jesus. That's my king.
Oh, but so you just said Jesus. Wouldn't that be tied to the Nicene Council? 332?
Well, no.
332?
No.
There was no James back then. There was no Jesus.
No, that would be tied to the King James translation. 16.
Okay, that's why I want you. All right, so even in that translation, he's saying it's Hebrew. It's not supposed to be Greek or Latin translation. In the 1611 joint. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. If you meet a man that speaks Spanish, would you speak to him in French?
No.
So you got to meet a man. You meet a man where he's at. So
I understand
the only way you can dialogue with a man is you have to first learn his language.
I understand that too.
So why
based off of occupation, based off of somebody that is not from your land coming into your land, trading with you, and they got power, and you gotta do what you gotta do it, right? You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn their shit.
Even though I speak Hebrew, why would I speak Hebrew to some brothers that speak English?
So why would I do it? Right.
So why would I call the name Yeshua to a brother that only knows Jesus? Ain't no wisdom.
I understand that too. I understand that too. I ain't caught up with none of that. So I ain't gonna mix no dope. See, because ethnicity and languages are two different things. And because of how we know today, it's people that's in this country right now that speak Spanish. I know people that speak Spanish amongst me right now. I'm in South Florida. You know, I can go 30 minutes from where I'm at right now. I'm gonna go into an area at the gas station. They go speak Spanish. They don't speak English first. You know what I'm saying? Now we can say, you know, my ethnicity, right? The Negro, the African American, they label us in occupation foreign to this land. They label us certain things. Culturally, we call ourselves what we call ourselves. That's the Musti. But at the same time, I don't have to not be confused about understanding like how at the same time in the biblical book that the people who were in the assembly in positions of title tied to Rome, who traditionally ethnicity could be obviously tied to the traditions of the Old Testament people as a people. See, not the fact that they understand their traditions, but they have assimilated how indigenous people here assimilated. And obviously they say West African people who came to this country assimilated and became, I don't want to use no bad terms, but you assimilated into a system that's foreign, occupating a land that they ain't from either. So I'm saying the same correlation of this influence. That's why like Nat Turner, Gabrielle, John Brown, and other people that, I mean, even my grandma, you know what I'm saying, were like Old Testament only. Old Testament only. Not Old Testament is not Greek, right?
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm a lame. Just think of me as a lame.
Go ahead. No, you ain't lame though. You far from a lame. Don't ask me that like that. You gotta play me. Now, this ain't no poker game now. This ain't no poker game. You ain't no lame. Now. I can't do that. I ain't gonna do that. We live. You're not a lame. You're not a lay person or a lame. No, do that. Don't do that.
Hey, check this out, bro.
Oh man, come on now.
What did the Indians do when the colonists show up? Did they capitulate? Hey, what
come
about?
On now. Some of them did. Some of them didn't. Some of them did. Some of them didn't. That's what I'm gonna say.
The Trail of Tears through Oklahoma.
Some of them did. Some of them didn't. I'm gonna say that about that too. Duality. Duality.
Chief, was it Chief Bigfoot?
You got jokes.
All the guys, they was willing what? They was willing, no matter, even though they were out, they lacked the military hardware to compete with the Europeans. They tried, and they was willing to what? They was willing to go down to the last Indian, some of these tribes. All I'm simply saying to you is,
and we did on that side of my side. I can say that.
You know, we got Farrakhan talking and saying, the Bible was written by Europeans. The Bible was not written by Europeans.
I agree with you.
The scriptures. What are the scriptures, all of y'all? The scriptures are from Genesis to Malachi. When Jesus was preaching, he quoted Isaiah. He quoted Daniel the prophet. He quoted Jeremiah. He quoted from the book of Genesis, bone of bone, flesh of my flesh. He quoted the prophets. Why? There was no such thing as a New Testament because it had not been written. So if you eliminate the New Testament books, guess what you got? You still got a pure religion and a pure language that's been preserved by King James with his translation from the Old Testament. I don't need. What is the New Testament anyway? It's plagiarism. It is
right.
It is the apostles plagiarizing the prophets. So you don't need all those letters that they wrote. They contain the writings of the prophets.
I mean, and to be an apostle, historically, Lee, to be an apostle at this time, based off the timeline, they would be obviously in an entitled position tied to Rome in the occupation of their heritage, being their ethnicity being tied to the people like Joshua and them, or even the Zechariah, which is Jacobite, King James, James the Just. You know what I mean? Yaakov Ha-Zadik. You know what I mean? That traditional people that were speaking Aramaic and Hebrew at that time in their real traditions tied to the Torah, but knew that there was an occupation of Rome who were influenced by the Greek. They can say that the Greeks can say they got their shit from the Egyptians, but they're clearly saying that the Romans, who are influenced by that, are having an impact on Yahudi, Judean people in their native land, that the occupation of Rome is taking place during the time frame of what they call Jesus Christ. And I'm keeping it real because my mama loved Jesus. Lord knows. I couldn't lie.
I'm gonna mess with your man. Since you trying to take me there, I'm gonna go there with you, okay?
I gotta push you a little bit today though. Just a little bit.
I don't know why. So I'm gonna show you something.
Go ahead, give me that. Give me that word.
I'm gonna show you something that's gonna I'm just gonna show this for the whole crew. Y'all gonna like this.
Yeah, I want before we get out of here tonight. I appreciate you, Lito. It's live though. I gotta keep it real. I ain't gonna lie.
About it.
These are the questions that people ask me. I gotta give it to you that way. That's how I gotta give it to you. That's how I gotta give it.
Listen,
it's been a minute. I gotta give it to you.
Know what they say?
People want to know. They want to know from you, by the way. Since we're live.
I'm gonna show you I want to show you guys a steal of what's this dude named Gabor. And in this steal, I'm going to show you a couple letters that are in your English language that are almost identical. No, that are actually identical to Aramaic. And you see it every day, but you don't know it because ain't nobody gonna show it to you. You know why? There's something about this alphabet in this language. These people are terrified of us learning it. Now I want to show you this. If you're still out there, I know we've been going back and forth. We basically had it out today, me and this dude.
I love you though, by the way. They say, right, I love you, right?
Yeah,
Ain't no hate.
It's mutual. It's mutual, bro. You know, hey,
that's the loose thing. I gotta say it from what people have been giving me stuff in questions, so I'm giving it to you. And I research certain things, so I showed you what I presented for a reason. So I want you just to, and you know what, bro? I promote for anybody that's out there that don't know from the beginning, before he goes into all this. If you're thinking that I'm into the Hebrew language, that's why the brother earlier that came up and we put it on the screen was disputing that Hebrew was even a real language. I don't agree with him. I'm just saying that the people that were speaking Hebrew were obviously influenced by Rome and Greek. If somebody that asked that in the chat as well. But I still say the purists that you're teaching right now are people wanting to know the ecclesiastical influence of people in general. That Hebrew is what it is. We need to know.
Now, let me show
understanding. Go ahead.
Let me show the people something. Now, you see this letter right here? What does that look like to you? This letter right here. Can you see it? Yeah, Mac.
Well, I'm asking you, like, what you want to do?
Right here, here it is again. Here it is again, right here. Can you see it?
I see it. Well, you scrolling right, the little circle right there, right? The little dot right there.
Yeah. What is that letter?
I mean, it looked like an H.
And guess what?
If I had to say English, which is, I don't want to say it as that in English.
And guess what that is? That's the letter.
What is
H.
it?
That's the letter H in Aramaic.
Okay. All right.
Now, hold on. Now I'm gonna show because I want to. I like to make things plain. You see this letter right here?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like to you? If you stood, that's the
upside
letter.
Down.
And guess what it is? It is the letter A.
A leaf, right? They would say sometimes, right?
Okay, all right. Now let me show you. What does this letter look like right here to you?
That's gonna look like a Y.
It'll like.
I mean, a W or a Y.
That's the letter M.
Oh, that's the M.
That's the M upside.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I gotta be
brushed up on upside down.
Transcribe that. But yeah, that looked like a Y to me.
What's this look like right here?
With a W kind of vibe.
What's that look like right here?
In cursive, it could be a B.
This letter right here don't look like a letter L to you with a hook?
It could be an L too, right? Like I said, it could be an L. It could be a cursive, independent. All right.
So
I want people to understand that too, right? I'm being humble.
I could do this.
I don't know all that right now.
I could do this all day. This right here is your letter X.
That's the X. Yeah, that's the tall. That's the cross right there. That's the tall.
So and here's the letter H again, plainer. So. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this. I'm doing this for the people that's in the audience, so that you all understand that the English language borrowed from Aramaic. You guys who don't, like the brother said, ain't no such thing. Well, then, brother, ain't no such thing as the English language, because 22 letters in the English language are Hebrew letters.
I agree.
But again, like I said at the very beginning of this dialogue, the proof is better than an argument, and a picture is better than 1,000 words. That's why I put this on the screen.
I know it, though. I'm glad you did that, because in the Hebrew influence, when the brother said it earlier about how Hebrew is not a language, but when we do in linguistics, etymology, as you have been doing the work on, see, I know you know better than me about the Hebrew language. You've been doing a whole book. Your book's about to come out right now, right? Am I right?
Yeah,
I'm testing you for that reason. You have a book coming out, and I want people to learn the true language transcription of what the ecclesiastical book that King James VI, the KJV Bible, as he said, is supposed to be transcribed to, from English back to Hebrew. So if people do not know that you're going to transcribe the influence of what all our black folk in America that follow that Bible in the English standpoint that we're speaking in today, and you want to comprehend it, you need to go back to the Hebrew translation of it, as King James says, and you read in the KJV Bible. Would I be wrong for saying that, Lee? Before we get out of here, am I tripping about that? Because you have done the work to do that part, right? That's not what you're not doing. It's not what you're doing right now. You know what it is. That's not what you're doing right now.
I would. You know what? Are you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah, because I thought I had accidentally. Hey, exited stage left on you. But I want to show.
No, you good?
Yeah, I want to show you something. We good, man. We have
we good.
This is a different type of piece, but we ain't getting no input from the people. That bothers me.
No, man, we good tonight because they're gonna get. I'm gonna see you again, but this is me trying to catch up with all the stuff that people missed, and maybe the Hebrew influence that I know we've been covering with you. So if you ain't watching other shows we've had with you over the years, then they should already know that we fucking with you on that. I say just like that. I ain't knocking with the Negro and the language and its origin goes back to, especially when it comes to the ecclesiastical languages. I can't go around what you have showed me on those things, the language. That's why I defended you and said, when that brother said, oh, ain't no Hebrew language, I'm like, what you talking about? Huh? I don't agree with that. But at the same time, it's why I also would say that there was the people in the tradition that spoke Aramaic and Hebrew that obviously the Boule term tied to the Sanhedrin term historically shows how people that sided with Rome and they were dealing with Rome, and that's historically proven too, of the Aramaic speaking people who were dealing with Rome in those certain titled positions that turned over homeboy Yahshua or Yeshua, or they call Jesus Christ. And I'm only standing on that part of the historical part of that. Now, whatever, but go ahead.
So you see what I put up on the screen, right? You see my screen?
Yeah, I got you. Go ahead.
All right, this is the new book, and it's going to hit Tuesday or Wednesday. It's going to hit Amazon. And this book right here, I designed this cover myself, and you can see from the book cover the Aramaic that's written in on the big stone and on the little stone. I put all that in there. This book is going to teach you. This book is 3 books in one. It's the Aramaic Hebrew version, the King James English version, and then you get a glossary of Aramaic Paleo-Hebrew words. This book teaches you how to pronounce. It'll teach you how to use prefixes and suffixes. You can learn how to speak Aramaic and translate from your kitchen table or on your lunch break at work. You don't have to pay nobody thousands of dollars to learn this. You can learn this from me through this book, and you can take the class. So you go to the bookstore and you get all the information for taking the class. I was going to start the class on the 22nd. I'm going to push it back to the first week and maybe the second week. I'm going to push this class back to the second week in November. So the class is going to start October 14th. You're going to learn a little history, but you're going to learn how to read, write, translate, and speak a language that's supposed to be dead, Aramaic. That's what you're going to learn from me. And
I agree.
And this is the front cover of the book. You like that?
That's hot, though.
Yeah, check this out. Now, this is the back cover of the book. And again, I created the covers, the front, the back, the spine. I create everything. And what you're going to see in the back cover is, you see this back cover?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this, the imagery here is that these women, these Nashi, they are they writing down what they see on this board over here, that being the 10 Commandments. And I've written some of the commandments in Aramaic on this page right here. So by the time these students get through with this book, they'll be able to go to the back of the book and translate this on their own. That's tight, ain't it?
I think it's tight. That's why I want. Hey, I said Hebrew influence, and somebody even said in the chat that what was the point of I had to point certain issues because people bring it to me because they know how close I am talking to you, and if I don't do it live, and say, hey, I read what you gave me and this and that, I'm gonna go ahead and present it in a certain way. So I presented it the way I did it. At the same time, no disrespect to you, and at the same time, I want people to do. So I do subscribe. I still subscribe, and I'm not only subscribe, I support my own research that the languages of the Bible that you're talking about right now that people need to understand is what it is. I don't disagree with that. See, that's what I'm saying to people. I'm saying that there's an issue with the people that are dealing with the Greek Latin side standpoint of the translation, especially English. Because if King James, who was the sovereign king as the first king of England, but the sixth of Scotland, was telling you to go ahead and look back at Hebrew language, then obviously today us ecclesiastically looking at any of this topic in English, Latin, or Greek, you're not going to get a pure translation. That's all I'm saying.
It's something about the language. It'll revive you. The language is from the third heaven, and the language it does something for you. I'm just telling you. I pray in Aramaic and I study every day because I got such a big mouth and I talk so much smack that I have to study around the clock. And when you get up and say that you are Mahdi Ibri Wall at the Anal Lamad Ibri, you speak Hebrew and you teach Hebrew, then you gotta back it up. It's like a cloud that don't carry no water. You can't be that.
That part. Yeah, so I don't want nobody thinking that all this time we've been talking, like some people in the chat like they ain't getting it. But I mean, in this first part, I mean, we showed you that Columbus was a Sephardic Jew. As shout out to Cootie Mayo. We're showing you that the Inquisition had a large part dealing with the slave traders people talk about, which was tied to popularity in majority to a religious group of people labeled today Jews or Yahudi, right? Sephardic, those in Spain, North Africa, and those areas. I only am pointing out this historically. Now, as far as them being purist of being Israelites in the manner of Yasharel and being the upright manner of God and following the principle of the Torah in the utmost manner, I'm not going to say that. But I'm going to say historically, I can say that the language in its purity is tied to Hebrew, Aramaic, especially if we're talking about the time frame, they're talking about Jesus Christ today. And that's going to be, he was speaking Aramaic. Am I right about that, Lee?
Yeah. It's understood that he spoke Aramaic. It's understood that the New Testament Jews spoke Aramaic. But it makes sense. Why would they? Well, and if you go back and see what Aramaic is, Aramaic was named after the baby son of Shem, Aram.
And that's Shem. That's how the Shem language, right?
And the ancient name of Syria is Aram. There was no such thing as
Aramaic.
Aram.
Right.
Yeah.
Syriac, Aramaic, Aramean Empire.
So what
that's
was
the language of them people, Aramaic.
The Syriac language. The Syriac language was Aramaic.
Right. And that's what I can't go around that. So if people get caught up in their own, I ain't here to do that tonight, actually. I don't care. I only want to point out that I know there's an influence, being that is what I see amongst the people they call Negroes in America prior to or even after dealing with even revolutionary things, injustices, inequalities, and how we've been treated in this country is tied to that Old Testament. And a lot of things, even in the New Testament, are people revolting and saying that we're not being treated equally within the land that we're native to. I just found that interesting enough, especially if you read it in Aramaic and Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? You'll see that parallel from back then to what we see going on right now. What you think about what I just said there before we go? And that's all I got for you, and we can get out of here. I appreciate you.
Well, next time. Once you open up the floor, did the people leave already?
Oh no, we got people in the chat. They still there.
Yeah,
they've been listening. I mean, they're here for the conversation.
Let them close it out with questions.
All right, well let's do it like that then. Hebrew letters, I learned they came from the star constellation, turned sideways, pushed together to make 22 letters. That was a question out of the chat.
What did he say again?
The Hebrew letters, I learned they came from the star constellations, turned sideways, pushed together to make the 22 letters.
Tell them there's only one problem with that.
What's the problem?
When Yahweh came down on Mount Sinai, he wrote the 10 Commandments in Hebrew with his fingers.
Say who again?
When Yahweh come down on Mount Sinai, he wrote the 10 Commandments in Hebrew, because when he wrote them with his finger, he wrote them in Hebrew, and Moses took them back down the hill and read them back in Aramaic. He didn't write it in Latin. He didn't write it in Greek, and it didn't come from a star constellation. Israel didn't look to the stars for letter writing. Israel looked to the stars. The Bible says the sun, the moon, and the stars would be for signs, seasons, months, and years. That's the only reason. That's the only thing. And we would not observe the stars, huh?
Huh? I mean, that is still tied to you
Hey.
have to follow the seasons in the sky and the moon and calculate the suns to know the times of the year. You know what signs are in the sky at a certain time of the year. You know the symbols that's showing up at a certain time of the year. That's saying that you have to like worship it or something, but you have to know it, right? Right?
No, man. The language was taught to Adam by Yahweh in the garden.
And Yahweh
taught Adam.
Taught
him because
about the seasons.
Even the historians tell you that the ancient Sumerians are credited as being the first people that speak a language, medicine, operations, the invention of the wheel. I'm just telling you, you know.
No, Lee, you know we have to come back for this. I ain't gonna keep you tonight too long. Because you know, when we get into our conversation,
brother,
I don't want to. We could do a part 2 for this one right here, because this is gonna be a part 2. If you down to do it again, we can bring this back because there's a lot into it.
Hold on, Kevion. The 10 Commandments came from Egypt. That's where Moses got it from. No, the 10 Commandments was in the garden in 4,000, almost 2,000 years.
Dealing with Adam and Eve,
almost 3,000, because the book said they kept the Sabbath day. That's the law. The book said that Abel brought a tenth of the tithes. That's the law. They said that he brought the firstling of the flock and he brought the fat. That's the sacrificial law. And the book said the commandment to obey God was given in the commandments. Was given in the garden. So you could see that the commandments was in the garden. Why? And even after the garden, and we're talking about 4100 BC, when Cain slew Abel, when he killed his brother, said, "Where your brother at?" Now he killed his brother. He tried to conceal it. If there was no law against murder, he would have been like, "Well, I killed him. He laying over there under that grass over there." So, and then the brother's asking about the book of Enoch. Brother, I get this question all the time. I always tell all the guys.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
I say, just give me a copy. Let me see the copy.
Oh, you don't get a copy?
I want to see a copy of the original in Aramaic, and I want to translate it myself. And then we'll go.
I can get you that. I'm gonna make sure you get that. Cause see, I'm gonna tell y'all straight up. Enoch to me is which causes a lot of problems within a lot of this, because if you bring up Adam, and since you're gonna say it's tied to Adam, well, the most in the bloodline tied out of Seth it goes to Enoch, and Enoch's the person they talk about being the most righteous man to walk what we call Yahweh out of the Adam situation before the flood.
He wasn't known as Yahweh at that time. He was known as,
call him a different name, variations. But you know what I'm talking about. You say Adam. You know what I'm saying? Because Enoch comes after Adam. I'm not saying Enoch comes after Adam. That's all I gotta say. Timeline.
Let me ask you a question. I'm just curious. What's the greatest truth in the whole world?
To be upright to the Lord, as they say.
No,
that's what they would say. Ecclesiastes.
No, the greatest truth in this life is the knowledge of the existence of the Godhead.
And that will only be shown to you, as Enoch said, if you're upright to the Lord.
There is no greater truth than out of all the layers of truth in this world. That is the greatest of all the layers of truth, the existence of the Father and His Son.
So Enoch did not see that?
Enoch ain't even part of this conversation. He was a
player. Oh, well, I'm saying, but he brought it up. That's why
Enoch ain't nobody compared to the Godhead.
Of course not. How you compare somebody that created everything in the universe?
Bro, that's
Enoch,
what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
We can't even, Enoch ain't part of the conversation. Okay, he ain't even made it the same stuff, even though
I'm still gonna say Enoch, come before a lot of things. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
come after Adam.
Change. He was made. He took on the change, but he wasn't.
And he was upright in his manner, and that's why they say that he was brought up. He caught the chariot, and you know what I'm saying. He was on that Merkabah. You know what I'm saying. He was on that Merkabah. That's before you get the Kapala, you got Merkabah. Enoch is dealing with the Merkabah and 70 nations and all the people coming together unified, tied to this term Zion before the flood, before Noah.
Have you ever heard what Yeshua, that you call him Yeshua Mashiach? You know what he said in the New Testament? No man have ascended to heaven, but the Son of Man which came down from heaven. That's what that means. Enoch, even though Enoch is not dead, he still did not go to heaven.
Okay. And that could be an interpretation I can go with too. I can go with that. But either way though, Lee, check this out. However, no matter they go about it, if you're saying that Adam is tied to this language, Hebrew, right?
Yeah.
Right? That means Enoch would be tied to the language Hebrew. That means Noah will be tied to the language Hebrew.
So what were they? So what were they?
You know what I'm saying? What you mean?
So
Like,
what were they?
I ain't gonna be caught up in that.
So what were they? They were Sumerian Hebrews.
However, you want to go about that part. We're gonna have to come back about that part. I think that's what people want to know about. That people have questions about this, and I think people want to ask you these questions because obviously, even though you're dealing with what I think is not to be debatable about the Negroes and the 13 colonies and American history and all that right there. I think I don't know how somebody want to debate about those facts that you put out, but at the same time, because they're not even your facts, they're documented things that's come before you. I'm talking about in the biblical standpoint, like how the influence and how it influenced people that debate about the Hebrew Israelite or Hebrew or I mean, there's white folk that's going around saying they Jewish Americans today, ain't nobody debating them. So why is it that black folk have a hard time saying they decide to be in Hebrew or have a Hebrew influence? I don't understand even how that works sometimes with these folk out here. But I'm saying, I mean, I know why. I'm absolutely, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Absolutely, I'm not gonna lie. But Lee, I appreciate you tonight. Yeah,
Boy,
yeah.
Well, whatever you ate for dinner, you eat that the next time, all right? Because
sure.
you was on point. You was full of energy today. I'm gonna start calling you Go
It's
Rock.
my mama.
Go,
it's my
go,
mama. Say it like that.
rock.
Put it on my mama. You hear me? I got energy. I'm gonna put it like that. You're the Holy Spirit, Mary.
For real.
It's
Hey,
in me.
you know what?
Yeah.
If you had been in the boxing ring tonight, you was fighting for the world, the heavyweight championship of the world. I believe you would have won. You know that?
Hey, listen here. I ain't playing. I ain't taking no punches.
I would say knock it out.
No,
Hey,
for real though, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you though.
Hey
for real
guys, go to the bookstore, take my class, pass the word. You know, pass the word. Go to the bookstore, take the class. All right, the Negro question. I'm giving I'm gonna mix a little English with this.
Uh-oh.
But the thing is,
Anglo-Saxon salt and pepper.
No, I'm gonna mix a little history with this class, but I'm gonna teach you how to read, write, and speak Hebrew. Go to the bookstore, sign up for the class. I put it up there on the screen for you. Sign up for my class, and I'll tell you what: if you buy the new book, you get the class for free. It's I forgot to
everybody
tell you, I forgot to tell y'all this book has been written in 6 columns. You know what? Maybe I'll get him a sneak preview. Yeah, man, give me a sec. I want to get him a sneak preview.
You gonna give it to him?
All right,
go ahead. I'm gonna let you go ahead and give it to him. Go ahead.
Pages, so they can get an idea what's going on. This book is so unique. You ain't gonna see another book like this nowhere. And if you do, I'd be real surprised. I really would, because this book is the first of its kind. It took me a whole year to write this book. I almost cried twice because I couldn't believe how hard it was to write this book. I was like, man, if I had known that it was going to take this long, I never would have did it. And that is God's truth. Check this out. This is a sample of one of the pages to show you what it is that you're going to get. And I'm gonna show you. You'll learn your first Hebrew word in the introduction, because I'm gonna teach you during the introduction the keys to reading this book and how to understand it. I'm only gonna show you guys one page from the piece. I'm gonna intro. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to get to it. You know, I'm letting you ride out. You know what I mean? Before we get out of here. So,
let's go. Hey man,
I ain't seen you in a minute, so I'm giving you the time to get it right, so we can get everybody what they want to see.
It's like role reversal. What's going on here? That used to be me. You know, like, hey, I'm finna go.
I'm ready. Yeah, you know, hey, Lee. You
all right, now check this out, y'all. Now you guys are one of the few people in outside the circle that have seen a copy of the new book. This is the way the new book is called: Genesis, Volume 1. The first chapter, the first column on the left is Genesis in English.
Can you make it a little bigger, Lee? Can
Huh?
I cheat real quick? Can I actually make this screen just a little bit bigger for the folk outside that's watching us live?
Yeah.
Can you make it a little bit bigger for folk? There we go. There we go. There we go. So they can read what's to the left, everything that you're talking about. I want people not to take me for granted. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't trying to make them see for themselves watching this live or after the fact. So, go ahead. You go ahead.
So the first column, it's a 6-column book. First column is the book of Genesis in English. Second column is the book of Genesis in ancient Aramaic. It's the second book. So you get 3 books. Third column, you get the prefixes and the meaning of them with the suffixes. The fourth column is the Aramaic Paleo-Hebrew alphabet with its English equivalent. The fifth column is the translation. And in this last column over here, it'll teach you how to pronounce. So you could be sitting at your crib. You could be out on a date with your girlfriend. If she gets to talking crazy and you don't like what's going on, you could pull out my book and learn some languages, vice versa. It's a 6-column book. If you are guaranteed to be speaking Hebrew within the first 14 days, you learn little things like water, mim, or look, ray, or walk, laka, all the little, and then after a while, I'll show you how to put your prefixes and suffixes together, and then I'll have you speaking in sentences. So let me get this off the screen in case somebody's trying to take a picture of it. Run that.
Man, come on now, bro. They're gonna take pictures of this after the fact.
See, when you hang out with smart
people something, they gonna say,
you hang out with smart people. Hey, listen, when you hang out with smart people, you gotta watch them because they smart. So when you hang out, check this out. I know, but when you hang out with slow people, you ain't gotta watch slow people because they slow. You feel me? Hey, you feel me, G? You ain't got to watch dude over in the corner. He didn't graduate from high school.
He
has no aspirations. He has no aspirations. He has no goals. He's just showing up every day. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, 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 ho. Now everybody.
No, for real though, I appreciate you, Lee, man. Right, hey, look, when the book gonna be done? When the book gonna be done that you just showed on screen before we get out of here?
I'm done.
When is it gonna be ready for people that's watching tonight that subscribe to you like that? You know, let them know. Here we go.
Take me 2 days. I gotta do some touch-up work on it. It's a 6-column book. Buy my book and take the class for free. Then you're gonna have
you heard that?
Your teacher's gonna be me. Now we got a brother.
You heard that?
You hear the brother, he said, I don't believe in the Bible. Well, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You know, if you don't believe in the Bible, that's between you. Got to get on your knees and just find out which one of these gods is real. And whoever proves himself to you, let that be your God.
Ooh.
That's some good counsel, right? Huh?
I like how you said that shit. That's real. That's a more henotheistic. That's henotheistic how you just said it. Because you respect that somebody got to find their way, but you know your way.
Chevin Pace, my brother. This new book does that. This new book is going to teach you. It's going to teach you. It's going to teach you root words. Like say if you want to say, why are you looking at me? You would say ma et. I could say ma etahi. Or I can say ma at the call, ray or raw a at lay. Why are you looking at me? Or then you say, or the woman is laughing. You say, hey neshi hawa sahak. The woman is laughing. The book is going to be, the new book is going to be 200.
Uh-oh.
Now check this
out. With the class though.
But the class is 400. So So if you buy the new book, you're gonna get a $200 discount. All you gotta do is show up for class. That's all you gotta do. Show up for the class. It's an 8-week course. And I have been known to extend these courses. I get into the course and I haven't taught all the material. And if I'm having a lot of fun with that class, I keep it going. I've done it before. I had to stop doing that.
I want people to know that that's why, hey, my thoughts, that's loosely, but I appreciate you always. What I do agree 100% with you about, dealing with this Negro question series you've done. Now, obviously, this language influence that obviously, again, anybody that's out here dealing with any kind of Greek shit, then how are you to say you have any problem with the Hebrew shit? Like if you're out here right now in society dealing with anything Greek, Roman, how can you not have a problem with like that's hypocrisy, as Malcolm X said earlier. You know what I mean?
Hey man, it's always it's good to hook back up with you because you brought that energy back out. But we got to get.
I got to do it like that, man.
Yeah, you brought. Yeah, you know what, man? You got a lot going on, man. You know, I don't know if the people know. You know, his mother passed, and so, you know, everybody should be praying with you. And you know, this thing called life is real. It's bigger than a show. And the show.
I don't need my enemies to pray for me though, because I know there's certain people out there might look at me as the ops, and I can look at you the same, even if we agree to disagree on petty things or some real things. So out there on the record, I keep it 100 about that. Like God agree and get said, like I get that from my pops, huh? Ain't it? So in real time energy on my mama, we ain't playing no games with you about nothing we do on this podcast. Because like Lee Cummings, you said, ain't nobody giving us no money to do this. We're not. Nobody's paying us to do this. We're not no ops in the matter of there's some influence. If I'm the ops, you don't like me because of me, for real, or what we doing and people that's around me. We're not doing this because we're getting paid to do what we're doing. Like we know a lot of ops is doing. So let's keep it different. I ain't gonna play with y'all about that. So Lee, and I know you're not that way. That's why I rock with you, even if you know what I mean. We can have differences, but I know you're real about your shit, and I ain't dealing with the ops in that kind of way. That's all I gotta say.
Hey, you know, you got a lot of
mud. It's like the mud right here.
You got a lot of hey, young fella, you got a lot of energy tonight. You make sure you go home and go to sleep. All right.
I'm not going home to go to sleep. But trust me, if anybody want that word, they can holler at me though. You know what to do.
You should put some of that energy in a bottle. You might need a sip of that tomorrow.
Boy, listen here. If I have more tequila,
what?
What is it, God? Hey, God, hey, if this is some online shit, hey, God, if it is some online shit, this some made up shit, ain't it? Boy, all right, then. I'm going to holler at you another time. Right, that's what you think this is. I'm going to holler at y'all, though.
Hey, everybody be good, man. We be back. Hey, we're going to come back next week, right?
I mean, shit, matter of fact, we could do this again next week. Because after that, it's going to be Halloween,
let's come back,
as they call it.
Let's come back Wednesday.
So I could do that. We could do that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to come back and do part 2, I ain't got nothing scheduled for actually, you know, that I want to do specifically.
No,
so after that, though, for everybody that's live, we're going to do Halloween after that.
Let's do an international. Let's do a current event, an international piece.
Yeah, you know, I'm doing something. I got some guests with the Caribbean and the Pirates of the Caribbean. Shout out to Cheeto Pa. I got some scheduled for the Sunday before Halloween. But next week Sunday definitely we can still do it. I ain't got nothing in place so I can say that. We can do that. We can run it back.
Hey, I bet I catch you running around here looking like Kunta Kinte. I'll be laughing.
Hey, listen, I ain't gonna play no games with nobody about that either. Because if you come see me and my cut, you going to kill me. Ain't no cutting running around with no 1 foot.
Hey, all right, man. Hey, everybody, go to the bookstore.
Not in the spirit of the Hebrew.
And we're gonna hey, I tell you what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something different. But we'll talk about it.
Next week Sunday, you're saying we're gonna talk about it. Look, I just opened the door for it because I wanted people to know that we ain't trying to be on no yes man shit either when we conversate with you either. Because people be acting like we just don't ask questions that are hard or that go against maybe certain things that people hear all the time. So you're the perfect person for me to bring it to because I keep it real with you. And I think I could do that with you. You know what I'm saying? So nobody out there to take it the wrong way, but I got to keep it real. I got to keep it real. That's what it is.
For some weird, inexplicable reason, we get along. You know,
for some reason.
Right. You have a different ideology. And I'm confessing this. His ideology is different than mine. We should conflict, but we don't.
Ain't it? People don't understand that. Listen, Kofi, gotta agree. That's why, Lee. That's why I love you. That's real love right there. You know,
right? We shouldn't even be
hungry. We can talk to somebody like this, how we're doing it, and people gotta understand that me and you are not actually aligned on certain things.
We ain't even down with each other.
You know what I'm saying?
We are hooked up with
this real shit,
and we clicked. It was weird.
It is what it is, though. I like real shit, I guess, huh? I'm gonna holler at you next week, then Sunday. I'm gonna see you next week Sunday. You said it yourself, so everybody out there, you heard it tonight. Peace.
Hey, my phone number is at the bookstore, so get over there, call me.
Get at them.
I'm looking for. I need 20. I want 30 students. You go get the book for free. You gonna get me. I'm gonna teach you. You ain't gonna get somebody some lame. If I get you lame, I get you one of my cousins. They lame too. But anyway, you'll get the book for free. I'll teach you. And what else I'm gonna give you? Well, we'll see. But you know, volume 2 be coming out right behind volume 1. But volume 1 is the bomb. You're gonna have it's so much information in terms of Aramaic and teach you how to pronounce. You don't understand the value in this class. And I'm gonna leave you on this thought. Say you ain't getting no money. You're not getting any money. You need a job, ain't nobody hiring. Take this class, learn this stuff, and then you go back on YouTube and teach the class yourself, and you charge. So this class right here is gonna put a hustle in your hand, or a way to get money in your hand. You'll learn how to read, write, translate, and speak, and then you go right back out and you set up your own class. How that sound, Mac?
I'm fucking with you, man. I want people to tap into it. I think people if you listen, if I don't subscribe to something, I'll be the first one to tell you. I wouldn't even let you come on here and do this shit. I keep it 100. Like, I think that if you're anybody that historically understands that they call themselves Black, Negro, colored, and American, today African Americans, they say in more current day times, and you're reading a KJV or any version of the Bible, I think that historically knowing what we know about American history of what King James did historically, and him saying this, if you didn't know about it in that introduction, would lead you to say that, you know what, I might need to take a spin of understanding the translation, not come to your everyday conversation out there, y'all, that might speak English or indigenous or whatever language, Islamic, I don't care. But if you didn't know that part about the introduction, that Lee Cummings brought up, that he breakdown from King James breakdown, that Bible is supposed to be translated from English back to Hebrew, I don't know what to say to you after that point, unless you got something else to show me differently. You know what I'm saying? So, and I already have my own, because I'm Kabbalistic. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm Kabbalistic. So it don't matter. I have to read Hebrew or Aramaic to even read that shit in this purest understanding. My personal understanding as a creed, don't get me twisted. I just say, I'm Estelusti, so I don't subscribe to calling myself a Hebrew Israelite, particularly as Lee Cummings say, we're different, but I ain't knocking the knowledge of what the wisdom of what it is.
So listen, as I gotta go, but I need 30. I need 30 of you guys to take my class.
You heard that? Tap in.
I'm giving you a $200 discount. I mean, basically, I'm losing $200 on the book. I'm gonna give you the book for free, and I'm gonna teach you. You can't beat that. And we ain't gonna have Mac at the class either.
No, I won't be there.
I was just playing. I said, no, I'm gonna be there. You need to be there. All right,
I'm
man.
not be in the back of the class listening though. I'm fucking with you, Lee.
Man,
appreciate you.
Another thing, this last
but next week Sunday, you heard me? Next week Sunday,
we learn.
I got some more shit for you now.
If we learn Aramaic as a people, these other ethnic groups won't know what we're talking about. So now when I'm praying, I pray in Aramaic. People come in the room, they don't know what the hell I'm saying. I'm talking to God. They ain't none of your business. I can say Ana, Rasa, Asha, Yish. I'm gonna kill that man. I could say it right there, but he would never know it. Of course, I'm not gonna do that.
You should have did it here. That's the wrong. How you gonna give that as an example, as a translation? You so violent. Let me get out of here with you, man. You violent. You know what I'm saying? You violent, dog. Chicago, man.
I'm not Hamas. You know what violent is? The word for violence is Hamas. And
hey, doesn't that sound like a terrorist group name?
That's the group over there. They call themselves Hamas. It means anger and violence in Aramaic.
Hey, people don't know that though. See, that's the influence of shit. People, how many people you think out there heard this word Hamas and how they're terrorists to a country called America, but don't know it's a Hebrew term? You know what I'm saying? That's the influence right there. I'm in on that right there. You've been terrorized no matter what.
It means violence. It means violence and
Can't make this shit up.
And it means violence and anger
We
and
way over our time, guys.
yeah, man. So you say,
I'm get out of here, bro.
or if you say he's an ass in Hebrew, you say hamwah, he's an ass. Or you say Yahweh, hamwah, he's an ass. You know, y'all say other
Lee,
things.
don't do it no more. Don't do it to him no more, Lee.
Hey, give me 30. I need 30 of y'all. I need 30 of you guys.
Yeah.
So come
Tap
on.
in.
I know we can get 30. Get the free book. And I'll go out on the thing, and then pull the number. Give me a call. Let me know what you need. We're gonna put it in effect. All right, Mac. Be safe, and I'm praying with you.
Appreciate you, dog.
All right.
I thank you, and everybody else too. If Lee, obviously the way he just said it tonight, he said it. You heard his mouth. So if next week Sunday he show up, we're gonna do it live. You know what I'm saying? Again, because I got some more questions dealing with this Hebrew influence of things. I ain't gonna lie, and some other things I want to bring up. I ain't gonna lie too, because ethnicity wise, I ain't biased about the good, the bad, or ugly about none of this. Shout out to the party. You know what I mean? Maranatha the T. That's in the New Testament, by the way. It means our Lord has come in an Aramaic understanding of it, though, not the Greek, Latin, or English. And the Marranos were tied to that term Maranatha too. That's historical. That's not my opinion. But however, Esther Lucy, we just keep it pure about that because we ain't got time to really in this 21st century to be playing games about something that you can't go back and change. You only can just understand how to move in the most upright manner based off of what it really purely meant and what the people tied to you say your heritage is purely saying, and not what you've been told later on. Because like how you've been told that all your folk were slaves, right? But all your folk might not be in that. Just like all your folk might not have came out of West Africa. We out of there. See you next week Sunday. Tap that. Peace.